We are back on the VCS analyst desk, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is still by my side. Hello and welcome. Nice that you're still here.
Yeah, welcome again. And yeah, we have a different guest. Clockwork got benched, unfortunately, because he was the inferior analyst the last two series in a row. And yeah, we couldn't have that going on, right?
That's totally true. So we invited our Lord and Savior, the best analyst we could possibly imagine, to join us. 𝘀𝗃𝗃, I'm very glad that you're joining us.
Analyst desk is something I don't actually get to see, and I'm not sure why you called me because I was the one predicting the 2-0 for 𝘀𝗀. So, not really sure if you made the right decision here, getting me the spot. But I guess here I am, and I'm excited to be on the desk again because yeah, it has been some time.
I mean, you hyped the last game pretty well, and this game has to be hyped as well because 𝘀𝑠𝑝𝑡C Esport versus 𝘀𝗀𝗃, it's realistically the game which decides playoff, 𝘀𝗀𝗃.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, we just earlier saw in the day already how good informed 𝘀𝗃𝗃 really is. Initially, I had them like as the weakest team, even of the feedback, who is fighting for the fourth place, and then 𝘁𝗵𝗵𝗀 kind of crumbled, and as we might know, 𝘀𝑠ptc kind of did the same thing to a little extent, and 𝘁𝗃 really looked in a very hot shape earlier this day. I mean, they had a 2-0 against 𝘀𝗀𝗃, who was in third place, but now there's of course arguable how really up to task they even were because they already locked their playoff spot. But I mean, 𝘁𝗃, to their own weight, played a little bit better than you expected, I would say. And just now against 𝘀𝑠ptc, I would even see them as a slight favorite now.
Oh, a slide
mean,
only?
the
Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but I think they are firmly the favorites coming in. Today they looked amazing. I had the luxury to just sit back, produce, and listen to the casts and look at the games. And to me, this was the best 𝘁𝗃 maybe we've ever seen. They had a clear identity. They knew what to draft. They knew how to execute the draft. I hated their drafts, but at least they know how to play them. So I think this is not all teams have the luxury. I'm using the word too much. They won against 𝘀𝗀𝗃, but still, not all teams have the luxury to play different styles. And maybe BTS or 𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗃 can't play the traditional styles, but they've found their own style, and it's working so well. They look amazing.
I mean, 𝘀𝗃𝗃, do you think that the confidence boost 𝘀𝗀𝗃 definitely has gotten through the win against 𝘀𝗀𝗃? Do you think that this will impact the play style from them against 𝘀𝗀𝗃?
Yeah, I hope they just stick to their guns because to me they're full on dive and very melee focused compositions. They don't really make sense from a draft point if you just judge the two best teams in the world. But in this case, where 𝘁𝗃 knows the best how to execute these kind of team fights, and all the other teams seem to be a little flustered fighting against this kind of style, I hope they just stick to their guns and play this style again. 𝘀𝗃𝗃𝗃, give it to me.
And I think this might just be the problem for 𝘀𝑠ptc in the current meta, right? I mean, they have looked awful since the preseason patch. Really, they are playing without Artifact, who has had coronavirus initially and thus has been falling out, missing some practice. He played a few games, and there we saw why he just now doesn't play in Hero. The other top laner plays mid lane instead, and we see it with Hero's champion pool, right? He usually just plays the melee mid laners, and this just makes the draft a little bit more predictable on the side of 𝘀𝑠ptc. And this is why 𝘁𝗃 likely just can punish on that, and especially with 𝘀𝗀𝗃 as a mid laner, who's like the strong point of this team to some extent, he can really abuse this mid lane champion pool. And maybe I was a little bit underselling 𝘁𝗃 as I called them the slight favorite earlier today.
So let's dig a little bit more onto 𝘀𝑠ptc esports because 𝘀𝗀𝗃 we've seen back in this day at the first match of the day. 𝘀𝑠ptc esports, they have Penguin in the jungle. Penguin is maybe one of the main pillars of the team. 𝘀𝗃𝗃, what do you think? How dependent is the team or the performance of the team on the performance of Penguin?
Oh, yeah, it feels like Penguin is the engine of the team. I definitely give you that. 𝘀𝑠ptc has shown me another glimpse of hope through the bot lane, because especially if I think back to the matchup against Cerberus, yes, they got 2-0'd, but Celebrity and CBL were actually dominating Ronapy and Artemis in the laning phase, and almost no one can say that about themselves. So I feel like Celebrity and CBL are the other win condition. But yeah, Penguin, if Penguin is having a bad game like he did on the Nidalee, yesterday, I believe it was, then it's looking, the chances are looking bleak for his team because without him, nothing happens in the early game.
Both solo lanes of SBTC are filled with top laners. Hero normally playing the mid lane and 𝘀𝗀 in the top lane because 𝘊𝗋𝗋, he had this COVID infection, and after that, yeah, he didn't manage to find the way back to his old playstyle, to his old form. So 𝘀𝗀cie, do you think that this predictable playstyle, because SBTC Esports has 2 top laners on the solo lanes, is a disadvantage for them?
It definitely is. I mean, we earlier touched on it. I mean, it just makes it so much easier for 𝘀𝗀ie to really prepare for this matchup. I mean, also 𝘀𝗀ie, if he just likes to play the Vex, likes to play the Victor, you can just get priority basically for free against most of these melee top laners. And if he just happens to get the Victor, which I think is very broken on this patch and in general, as I said countless times today, I think he just also gets an easy time to just free farm. And as long as Penguin isn't just camping his lane, then 𝘀𝗀ie likely has it pretty easy in this. And I'm really looking forward to see what the top laners really have there to offer, because 𝘀𝗀, I've seen his Camille, I've seen his Gwen. I like these kind of picks, and with Ryuk usually defaulting to like Renekton and Gnar a lot, I think this is maybe also one side then where SBTC can punish them.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go into the first pick and ban phase for this playoff race, a deciding match versus SBTC Esports versus both 𝘀𝗀cie and 𝘀𝗀. Looks like Gray's first pick. How do you like that, 𝘀𝗀ie?
Well, as you know, my stance on Graves. I do think Grace can maybe help them to get over some of the early game issues they have shown us if they put the Grace in the solo lane. If it's a jungle for Penguin, then I'm even more concerned, because we already pointed out how much he is necessary as the engine of the team to really get them going, right? So if they actually opt into Grace jungle, of all things, then that has no agency in itself, on top of Penguin also struggling recently. So I would really hope to see them put this Grace into the hands of 𝘀𝗀 in the top lane, just have one winning lane, one pushing lane with priority to set up Penguin for success. It does pair well with 𝘁𝗔𝗎 though, as she's banned. Yeah, okay, I didn't catch the ban. So 𝘁𝗔𝗎 banned against Penguin. Let's see if he can find another confident pick.
And as we just see, the Ryuk Renekton was something we were kind of seeing as a very predictable thing. Renekton 𝘁𝗀, of course, very strong early game, and I agree with you here. I think the Graves should just go into the top lane. It's also a decent matchup against the Renekton, and yeah, just as I stated, our hope is kind of crushed a little bit as the 𝗀𝗀 gets locked in, which in their fairness is at least a fine matchup against the Renekton. We just earlier saw it with 𝘀𝗀, with Punt playing it against 𝘁𝗀, and while of course not winning that lane, he lost it somewhat gracefully, I would say, and maybe that's like one way for SBTC to go in with like the late game scaling kind of draft, but I don't think they're doing themselves a favor either with this Graves jungle login.
Yeah, it's already a very defensive kind of draft. Okay, now this is a deviation from that style, right? Away from the late game scaling, away from the power farming into the mid and late game that SBTC has looked decent on, but their early games are just a little too weak to make that work. So I like the Lucian, a little bit more aggressive potential from the bot lane. I pointed out 𝘁𝗀 and CBL as a potential win condition as well, so I like the solution. I would hope they ban the Nami, though actually 𝘀𝗀ie is a team that likes to play against the Nami, attack the Nami with the 𝘁𝗀. No surprise to anyone that Armin is going back to the 𝘁𝗀, and I think we talked about these 𝘀𝗀ie compositions, and this is just what they played against 𝘀𝗀ie in Game 2. I think it's almost identical, so they know how to play it. They played it today already, and they beat a much better team. So I think they can come in with a lot of confidence after this draft.
Yeah, definitely agreeing with that, and also it's like something you address in the green room right now. I mean, they don't really know how to draft, but they at least play towards their draft and actually have like a certain identity they play towards. The 𝘁𝗀 and Renekton working out well for them against 𝘀𝗀ie. This time it happens again, and I'm just wondering this time, where's Jinx, where's Nocturne, where's Victor, where are all these strong picks that are still ignored by both of these teams? A little bit surprised by that, and yeah, you just addressed the Nami as well, which likely will get banned out by now, but they also played against the Nami even earlier against 𝘀𝗀ie, and I think that worked out fine for them, so exactly. They will leave it open.
I think they actually want the Nami on the enemy team, not only because they like to play against the lane, they also know that CBL is better on the hook or straight skill shot champions like Thresh and Morgana as prolific champions, so putting him on the Nami might actually be something that backfires for SBTC's side, even though we all know Lucian Nami is the prime beard bot lane right now, maybe together with Caitlyn and Lux. But I like this last ban from SBTC, banning away the 𝘁𝗀 really puts a wrench in the gear of 𝘀𝗀ie, because this was their combination with the 𝘁𝗍, so now they have to go to, oh no, a 𝘂𝗀.
Yeah, they likely go towards the 𝘂𝗀 now, or maybe they even last pick support, which would be very weird, but I think they could actually do it if the Lucian Na'Vi lane gets locked in on the other side, and maybe they just pick the mid laner here, but of course they don't last pick support. I mean, let's be realistic. It's still 𝘂𝗀 and Nautilus open, they go for the Nautilus instead, and now I'm really wondering what SBTC wants here. I mean, Victor is still on the table.
And with Victor still on the table, we also have the Nami as an option for SBTC Sports. Together with the Lucian, obviously a very good combination, but as 𝘂𝗀 pointed out earlier, the Nami is probably not the best option because CVL is not that confident of Enchanter champions like that. The 𝘁𝗍 as an answer into Lucian, we have seen it a couple of times in this day today, and it looks like the Thresh pick for Lucian. Isn't it a little bit wasted because Lucian is still very, very mobile with his E? Okay, it's the 𝘂𝗀, never mind then. But the 𝘂𝗀 lock-in is something you predicted, right? 𝘂𝗀?
Yeah, I thought the 𝘂𝗀 would come in for 𝘂𝗀. Lucian, ever since the rework, really wants an Enchanter, and not seeing an Enchanter with Lucian it strikes me as suboptimal for almost every lane. Now, 𝘂𝗀 can run, how's the rune called again? You would know, 𝘀cie, the one where you get the healing buff.
Which healing buff?
Form of Life, I believe it's called. So you can actually activate the Lucian passive if you have Font of Life.
Oh, the rune,
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Font of Life. Yeah, so the 𝘂𝗀 is kind of a little bit within that regard. I gotta say though, it is a decent kill lane, and the Nautilus, without aftershock, maybe goes Glacial. He might just get blown up before he can use the spell, and then he would just maybe fall prey to all the damage the Lucian can deal with the cooling, with the piercing light coming out. And the Syndra pick is a weird thing because 𝘀𝗏 isn't here. I can actually praise it a bit. It makes some sense because you don't want Sylas to have a good hijack ultimate, and Syndra's ultimate is of course an AP ultimate with a lot of burst that might at first sight sound seducing to steal away, but without all the Syndra balls around you on the side of hero, you really do not want to have the unleashed power. It is not a good ultimate to take, and this is why the Syndra in that regard makes sense. It can also bully the Sylas very well around in the early game, and overall, still, I mean, Burst Sky's draft isn't really like peak meta gaming, but they have a plan and they can play towards it, so I'm confident in them taking the first game here.
Yeah, I mostly agree. I think the Syndra is a little bit different from what we've seen from them. I would have expected a little bit more aggression and maybe a little bit more engage. A Galio comes to mind to follow up on the engage from Ryuk or Druktha or even 𝘂𝗀. So the Syndra is a little bit off theme to me, but it will provide them with a nice laning phase in the mid lane, and 𝘀𝗀 we know is a great laner. So I'm definitely going to predict BTS as well, or Burst the Sky, so Sky, because they just looked so much better than SBTC.
BTS leading the predictions 2-0, and with that we are giving over to our caster actually, because 𝘂𝗀 will fill in the caster position as well. 𝘁𝗏𝗋, can you hear us? And I want to ask you this time, what is your prediction? What do you think? Who will take the first game?
It's a hard one to predict here. Thank you for bringing me in, letting me get in on the prediction fun. I don't often get to. I think this is a hard one to predict. I have to lean towards Sky. I just think they've been playing better recently. I've been saying it for a while. You guys keep laughing at me, but maybe I'm slowly getting vindicated that Sky is the 4th best team, with SGB and SE falling down. So I'm going to back my boys in the red and the orange.
Yeah, they looked very, very good today, but SBTC, this is a very important series for them, so now is the time to step back up. They are 0-4 in the week. I want to reiterate this because they've been struggling a lot. They've gotten 2-0'd by Secret of all teams. The first series Secret has picked up that was not against Team Flash, and it wasn't even close. Zero is wandering in for a little bit of early vision and no opportunity for 𝘀𝗀 to fight back against him. So this is now high time for SE to strike back, because if they lose today again, 4-8, it's going to be a very difficult path to the playoffs.
Ryuk bearing down on Emperor, has that Conqueror stacked up, but started with the Q, does a lot of damage. Can't blame him for that one. Emperor perhaps not thinking super well of trading the level 1 with the Renekton, as now he has to play with a significantly reduced health bar.
And we've seen this matchup so many times today. I think this is a different case than Pun against 𝘁𝗏𝗀 though, because I believe BTS or 𝘀cie might even be a little bit better in these kind of compositions compared to 𝘀𝗀, at least when we compare the opponents as well, right? SPTC is a different beast than 𝘀𝗏 is, so I believe this Renekton will be less useless than what 𝘀𝗀 showed us in the last game.
Let's hope. Let's hope we get a good bit of crock and roll in this one. I'm not too confident on that one, as 𝘀𝗀 does land the hook, but it's answered by the Zenith Blade from CBL onto 𝘀𝗀, but that 𝘁𝗀 doing a lot of damage.
Level 1
that,
Leona trades every game. It's so
To be fair, this one at least is an Aftershock Leona.
Yeah, it's still
It's
a terrible
much better
champion
than
at level
Glacial.
1, so you should never try to
true.
trade on the champion at level 1, especially when the enemy has double the CC, because he auto-attacks with extra damage and CC. So, once again, another Leona goes punished for getting into a fight at level 1. I do not understand how the VCS supports are still doing this every single game. It's not quite as atrocious as into the Nami, where we see it without fail every time, but it's still a good advantage for 𝘀𝗀 now. On the 𝘁𝗀. He might even go for an early recall, or they group up with 𝘀𝗀 to fight for 𝘁𝗏𝗺𝗀𝗀, but it seems like 𝘀𝗀 wants to go for dive instead.
Yeah, they're pinging it. They will spot him in the tri-bush, but they're just
Ooh.
immediately calling a teleport. The hook lands. The second teleport is a little bit later as 𝘀𝗀 flashes away. The first blood comes in for the Renekton. They've already got what they need. They don't need to go back under tower. But your way, this is the base. Of course they will, as the E in. Celebrity going low, Celebrity going down. 𝘀𝗀 will follow him to the grave as in comes Hero, lands the chains, needs to slay a king, manages to do it, takes out one Pete of Royalty, but then the reactionaries come back, put them back on the throne.
And this is the new 𝘀𝗀. They were our best, one of the best late game teams last split, and the most horrible early game team. But now they've turned this all around. They're all about the early game aggression. They are still the team with the least amount of kills, combined kills per minute. But these games do not show that, because what aggressive play. 𝘀𝗀 starts it off well, and the teleport comes in. They are all on the same page. This team might not have the best hands, but their brains are in sync. They all know what play to go for. And honestly, when you have Nautilus, Renekton, and Xin Zhao in your team, you don't need hands. You just need communication and coordination. And this is a beautiful showcase of that.
It absolutely is. The Sylas comes in. I mean, Hero, it's close, right? He does everything he can, but unfortunately, in the end, it is 𝘀𝗀 cleaning up everything, and they see themselves now at a 1.5k gold lead, just about.
It's even worse
A
than just
lovely
that.
position in the early game.
It's 4 to 2 kills, it's 1.2k gold lead, but it's also an additional teleport, it's additional resources from the solo laners. Hero, no flash, no teleport, is behind in the lane now. 𝘀𝗀 can counter the next aggressive play for SPTC if they choose to not attack him. So everything is looking 𝘀𝗀's way, and now SPTC has to fight against the run of play and against the map situation to come back into the game. They need an amazing outplay somewhere, some mechanics, and just showing off with a play to get into a better map position, or stall the game till the teleports are available. I'm not sure 𝘀𝗀 is going to allow that.
Yeah, and this early game has been all blue sky as they move on in. CBL will for the storm is on the horizon, and it's shaped like 𝘀𝗀 as he picks up another assist. The play has been excellent from the Xin Zhao.
And someone wake up our resident 𝘀𝗀 fanboy #1 rebel, because there was such a beautiful sidestep from 𝘀𝗀, denying the way out for CBL, because he knew CBL's only way of getting out of the play was to E on top of him, because he came from the other direction. So 𝘀𝗀 completely aware, and all of these players have activated the next vision mode. They are playing with 120% eyesight, because everyone knows what's going to happen in the next few seconds as well. It's beautiful coordination from 𝘀𝗀, off to a blazing start.
That it is, and even up on the top side, look at the CS gap that 𝘀𝗀 has pulled out over 𝘀𝗀. This is now a 23 CS lead for the Renekton. There's a huge CS lead in the mid lane. I mean, these chickens are cooked.
Yeah, this all comes down to the first play in bot lane, because it was not just the kills, it was also TPs and flashes burned from the solo laners. and they tried to salvage a situation that was already bad. Giving out 2 or 3 kills under the tower is already a start you rarely can come back from, but then investing 2 TPs and still losing the play is just the utmost you can ever lose in a play.
Yeah, it really was a disaster. SBTC is going to have to dig real deep to try and pull themselves back into this one. But 𝘀cie just have to keep on the same trajectory they are on now. Continue their build towards their items. 𝘀𝘀 continue what he's been doing. 𝘀ary playing very well on the Syndra as well. And your way, where do you want to see 𝘀cie hit next?
So they don't really need to hit next, right? They've secured a big enough advantage. So if they play a little bit more defensively now, which I don't expect. Oh no, 𝘀𝗶𝗀. That's a fluff.
Disaster for 𝘀𝗶𝗀. He's dead. Oh no, 𝘁𝗏𝗺 giveth, 𝘁𝗏𝗺 taketh away, as he'll go again. He's going to buy a lot of time. He will eventually get hunted down, I'm sure. But this is a lot of time being wasted.
He
He drops another
be able
rip
to execute.
Yeah, he's getting the execute for free. Oh, no, don't recall. You have to keep running. No way. Oh, man, I thought 𝘁𝗶𝗹𝘀 didn't see him there for a second. Can he get the tag? No, this is going to be an execute.
Are you
𝘀𝗀𝗀 gives
serious?
the gold. Why did they both go the same way?
Yeah, not only that.
There's a fork in the road. There's a fork in the road. One of you go each way.
They were also so focused on the skill that they've now lost even more map positioning. Buff is getting stolen away, and 𝘀𝗀𝗀 escapes unscathed in the bot lane. Now there's another clash. They pick their target.
The Eland's Penguin is gone. And 𝘁𝗀𝗃 is looking pretty warm these days as Ryuk spins around, takes down Hero. They're going to keep moving on in CBL. Is 𝘀𝘀's next target as the rest turn to deal with the Forge God 𝘀𝗀𝗆. He might be forged in flame, but right now his team are looking a little bit burnt.
And I've cracked the code. I know why 𝘀𝗀𝗆 lost the last series. It was not because Cerberus just played better. Spoiler, it was. But they actually wanted to avoid number 4 seed 𝘀𝘀e, because look at this team. They're dominating everyone today. 2-0 𝘀Xury and now running away in unbelievable speed in the first game against SE. We are looking at a 5k gold lead at 9 minutes. Hello? Is that allowed?
I think we might need some investigation. Someone check him game. We just see Penguin get caught out. It's an excellent follow-up.
It's a 3v4, by the way.
But, yeah, I mean, is it? Is it really? I think 𝘀𝘀𝗆's worth 2.
Yeah, not only is 𝘀𝘀𝗆 playing amazingly, but their coordination, once again, I can only point this out so many times, but they knew their targets. Penguin tried to flank, and they didn't have any of that. Just jumped on a Penguin. He was eliminated in 1 second. And I want to go back to 𝘀𝗀𝗋𝐶's point on the analyst desk. It was actually 𝘀𝗀𝗃 bringing it up. The importance of Penguin for SPTC's success. He was our player of the week in week 1. He showed us amazing performances in the whole of week 1. They won against some very strong teams, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and Penguin since then has only been a shadow of himself from the week 1. He has not been able to double his points from week 1, actually, in MVP points. So all of those are still from that week, and ever since, Penguin is more of a liability for his team than anything else.
𝘀𝘀𝗆 moving into the bottom lane as a hook lands. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 has the Kraken Slayer complete already. It's a 3v3 around this bot side tower. But honestly, that might be a 3v3 that 𝘀𝗀𝗆 takes. No, they're not going to take the risk. I have to respect it. As I think they will just drop the Herald. Yep, there it is in the mid lane. 𝘀𝗀𝗋's picked up a solo kill onto Hero. Unleashes his power, showing off.
Insult to injury.
Herald summoned up. W doesn't land from Xin Zhao. It's just going to be gold onto the 𝘁𝗀𝗃.
And even the small interactions there, 𝘀𝗀𝗋 and 𝘀𝘀𝗃 share the gold perfectly. 𝘀𝗀𝗀 steps away in time, still is close enough to ensure that his 2 priority targets don't die. So even these small intricacies that we don't expect a number 5 team to have down, but maybe a playoffs team to perform well, are going 𝘀𝗀𝗆's way. They look revitalized, and maybe, I'm not going to say that because let's not hope for that. But let's look at the solo kill in mid lane. It's probably just a little bit of Syndra magic, hitting Q after Q after Q, and Hero overextending.
I mean, Hero wanted to die.
He really
Like,
did.
that was some shocking Silas play. As during the replay, Sky did pick up their second dragging, adding an ocean to their emblems. And once more, we head down into Zorn. The gas fills the air, and we're on a Chemtech Rift.
And I'm still wondering, when is the time for 𝘃artifact to come back? Because 𝘂o, his champion pool has been an issue the last few weeks. Not so much before preseason patch, but ever since preseason patch and the resurgence of mages, as you might... Yep, he's dead again.
Yep.
Nice to illustrate my point. Thank you, 𝘂o. Or 𝘀𝘀ie, maybe. But the mages are back on the Rift. We have Victor, we have Syndra, we have so many more. And 𝘂o is a top lane, and he's not really been showing any adaptability to be able to pick up the mages as well. So I wonder, why not just play your mage player? You were losing every game anyway. Maybe that can actually help you. I know the synergy looked better whenever 𝘂o was there and they won some games, but now they're losing every game anyway, so I would like to see 𝘃artifact given another shot.
Yeah, maybe it's just maybe they've made the call that it's a little bit too late in the season for that, as Penguin is in trouble. Depth charge put on him. Ooh, the 𝘁𝗏𝗹 misses. Not sure if he can join the play with that killer instinct, but look at all of the teleports. Everyone from Sky is here. The clouds open, and it's a beautiful day, 𝘂𝗋𝗋, as the sky comes on down. They pick up 3. They pick up the tower, and look at this. Look at the gold lead.
It's ridiculous. This looks like a repeat. It's a déjà vu from Sky, no, not Sky, 𝘂SPTC playing against 𝘀 this week. I think Sky studied some of the dives 𝘀 likes to pull off. Maybe they even had a scrim block with 𝘀, because this is prime game bot lane focus, trying to dive over and over again. The whole game plan is just to dive bot lane, and they are executing it so beautifully. Just don't take your eyes off 𝘂𝑒o, because he's close to dying, but then they just focus down the towers, so even the support gets to live afterwards. It's amazing coordination again, and Sky running away with the game is an understatement. They are dominating 𝘂SPTC from start to finish.
That they are. I mean, I don't even know how 𝘂SPTC begins to mount a comeback. Feels like we should already have our eyes on game 2. Exactly, as the mid lane is now just getting auto-attacked down. SE had 4 members around the mid lane. They just recalled because they knew they couldn't step up. Glory's too strong. 𝘂𝑒o has been a godlike Nautilus so far. And, I mean, look, they're going to take this top lane tower as well. It's just all-around collapse from 𝘂SPTC.
𝘂𝑒x, we know 10k gold leads, right? 10k gold lead sounds good. And especially if you take into account that it's 14 minutes. But look at the gold lead right now and think about the fact that this is more than 50% more gold.
Glory did get caught.
Yeah, true.
Glory's been caught.
So not quite anymore.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, the fact that they are about 50% gold ahead is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, not going to bode well for 𝘂SPTC's gold at 15 star. That's already close to Team Flash, so they might actually overtake Team Flash with this game. One game is probably not enough, but they're close. They're the 7th place team in gold at 15, the 2nd worst. Only Flash's worst.
Owner ultimate use. They are going to try and collapse here. It's actually a really good CC train. Oh, this is a replay.
Yep,
I'm kind of tired.
It was a good collapse, though. At least 𝘂SPTC shown us that the basic things still work for them as soon as they get out of the laning phase. Laning phase has always been an issue for this team, at least in this split. They've always had some of the worst early game stats. And it's not actually much due to individual laning capabilities. I think all their players are fine when it comes to last hitting CS and not falling behind in their matchups. It's much more due to early game macro and coordination. And yeah, most of the time they just don't do anything. And that's not good enough, because early game macro is the #1 thing in the VCS. VCS has always been known for early game aggression and just being very focused on the early parts of the game, having the highest combined skill per minute, having the lowest game times. And that's always true here. So just being good in lane individually is not good enough to keep up with the better teams here.
No, it certainly isn't. I mean, Sky are just kind of wandering around looking for more advantage to take. They're just going to wait for this dragon to come up, move up to Soul Point. Everything's looking pretty gravy for them as, I mean, surely at this point, SE are already talking about game 2. And I'm just don't even know where you begin to mount the comeback your way.
Some objective bounties might be the way, as they are giving up some of the towers. So objective bounties are still very new in the game, but giving them up so freely is maybe not the way to go, as I'm very confused why On was shown as killing the tower when he isn't even there, but doesn't matter.
Very weird. As they do just use the ram to buy 2 seconds of time. Congratulations.
Losing
Rift
inhibitors
Herald
in
is
bot
having a
lane.
gander down towards the bot lane. The mid lane inner will fall as well, and SPTC are being split across 2. That is another tower going down. It's now back to that full 10k gold lead here at 17 minutes your way. A disgusting performance from 𝘀cie at the moment. They can finally back off, pick themselves up a 𝘀𝗃, and continue this snowball.
Exquisite
They
play.
can also just stand in the gas, by the way, and just say, hey, walk forward.
They are an unconventional team. Their performance today, not only in this game, but also in the series against 𝘀𝗀cie, has almost been spotless. But they do things a little bit differently than what you traditionally would expect. There's a dragon, everyone is screaming at them, please take the dragon. Every single coach watching this is just fuming, because it's a free objective, but they don't really have to. They are so far ahead, they just wanted to use the Baron as a bait, and actually dragon as the bait, excuse me.
They're just delaying Elder.
I mean, if Elder spawns, you have something to blame them for in this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do. But no, I don't think it will. 𝘀𝗃 will finally pick up this Drake. As you said, they were perhaps just trying to force 𝘬 to come out, try and end super quickly. 𝘬 didn't take the bait, and it's unfortunate as well. Maybe the comeback could start with a big Ornn scaling into the late game, but now they've got 𝘀𝗃 Drake stacks.
I mean, On would need to be actually a good late game champion, which he's only in very certain situations. You know,
He's a brick wall.
I don't think he's ever going to be tanky in this game, even if he hits the late game. He's too far behind.
Look.
You know, I don't like On, and in this is the kind of game that makes me hate
What you don't
On
understand
more.
your way is the thing that's giving them stealth on the map right now is my copium. So you need to let me huff it, all right? I'm trying to find a way out for 𝘬 here, and maybe this is the start of it, as 𝘀𝗃 does get caught, but the Crescent Guard is excellent. In comes the Ornn, but they just don't do any damage. And now, finally, the rest of 𝘀𝗃 have arrived at the fight. Ryuk going into the backline, gets the big shield from that Sterex Gauge. We'll get a heal from 𝘁𝗁𝗵 as well, and in they come. Killer Instinct is activated. 𝘁𝗁𝗵 flying into the backline. 𝘁𝗏 is the last one standing. The brick wall is here, but the Wrecking Ball is chasing him down. Ooh, it looks like he will get away for now. Interesting imagery have come up now as a wall runs away. But 𝘀𝗃 win the fight, and they'll get another tower.
There's nothing for 𝘀𝗃 to do on the map. They can kill them over and over again, but the Baron is still not here. They're screaming at the Baron pit, please, come. Don't hide yourself any longer. We need something to do. But yeah, this way they just have to wait again, reset again, and unfortunately spend some of their money. As you pointed out on the call, they just don't have any damage. 𝘀𝗃 gets to do whatever he wants. He could actually build crit in this game and just still kill everyone. 𝘁𝗁𝗔 is not here, by the way. They are dominating the team fight, killing everyone. 𝘁𝗁𝗔 just flies in as a little bit of Christmas celebration, a little bit of extra decoration. He was not needed. He can go to the side lane and farm for the rest of the game. They don't need him to kill all the enemy targets. But another pentakill for 𝘁𝗁𝗔 today would be even more funny. So I'm up for that.
Yeah, it would be fun, but now 𝘀𝗃 pushing in once again, trying to zone 𝘬 away. They catch onto Penguin, will quick draw over the wall. The dash forward from Renekton. Ryuk is actually alone at the moment, but he doesn't care. He just walks forward. Why not? He's got a big shield to play with. He's got the heals coming on in. There's the Unleashed Power. The first kill will be onto that Leona. Finally, an Ornn ult lands, knocks up 3. Elio failing the hook there, but 𝘁𝗁𝗵 with a big crit. You know what, your way? Don't be mean. And they will move on to Baron.
The big tanky boy trying to stay alive for more than half a second. Unfortunately failed this time around. The Baron is here finally, and this is going to mean 𝘀𝗃 can just walk that one in, use the Baron to siege, because one of the woes of their compositions they've drafted lately, and it's definitely not something to get them off these compositions, because they still look amazing, but the siege is not the greatest. They have one ranged champion, or I guess Syndra is there as well, but only one that can hit targets.
how you know for sure this game is over when the Renekton goes, oh, I'm in a 1v1. He has 3 people coming at him. Yeah, I'll just walk into the 3.
He just turned around immediately.
And it was the correct decision.
Yeah, this Renekton, I told you, this is gonna be a 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. This is definitely one of the reasons why we see the Vietnamese Crocodile series, because he is a very strong early game champion that can snowball the mid game as well. And if you build compositions around him with a lot of dive buddies, with many people who can do the same and assist him in his endeavor, then he suddenly looks like a very strong champion. Ali is on the chase.
Hero is being caught out, but they use the Everfrost and the Leona ultimate to try and get away. There's a depth charge to 𝘀𝗀𝗋 diving into the backline. Sorry, was there meant to be a 𝘁𝗀 in this game?
It was a glorified cannon minion, because it only gave 176 gold as well. So not even worth 2 cannon minions. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 very disappointed with that check. But he doesn't need any money anymore, because the base is going to fall in just a few seconds.
Yeah, they are going to begin this final push. The Ornhorn is blown, trying to do anything at all, but the culling is coming in, doing absolutely nothing. Drakthar tanking it up with that Xin Zhao ultimate. Sky are actually going to back off. They don't have a wave. They're playing this one incredibly safe. I can't say I blame them. This is a good decision, but it does mean we have to watch a bit of a slaughter for a bit longer.
Do you know what's tailor-made for a dive composition where everyone is melee and just wants to dive into the enemy team?
What? Your way?
Chemtech Soul.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So Ryu can really just not look at his HP bar ever again. Just walk in there. If he dies, he comes back again. Same goes for Drakthar. Honestly, same goes for 𝘀𝗀𝗋 as well. The only one who's not going to die for free is 𝘀𝗀𝗋. And he doesn't have to if he doesn't want to. But yeah, this is the last-ditch effort.
I mean, you might want to take the fight before the dragon dies, 𝘂𝗍. I'll give you that hint. I don't think you can 5v10. As there it is, the soul is secured. The reses are all available. And Leona ult lands on the backside. Ryuk bearing down onto them. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 will pick up the first kill. Look at that massive shield. This is a pentakill angle. It's a pentakill. It's a pentakill as he's moving forward. He's already got the 3. Can he find the 4th? There it is. Oh, come on. Give him the 5th. Give him the 5th. Give him the 5th. It's a quadra. It's a pentakill. 𝘀𝗀𝗋, the pentakill king! That's 3 pentakills in a day, 𝘀𝗀𝗋!
No pentakill so far, and then it all delivers in one day. This was so deliberate. They all had just one plan. Oh, 𝘀𝗀𝗋 got its pentakill. Artemis followed up with another pentakill. Nah. Our ADC is the best ADC, and he gets another one. The pentakill god, 𝘀𝗀𝗋.
Oh, 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀! And you called me a madman for thinking Sky was good. You said the Buffalo were 4th, but look at them! Look at Burst the Sky! They're so good!
The hyperbolic time chamber in these last few days, where they didn't have to play the first series, helped them tremendously. What a performance, what a turnaround. They have showed us glimpses of great performances, some good early games, some great late games, some decent team fighting, but nothing at this level of cohesion, nothing at this level of just team play and execution. This looked like a gum game. If you take away everything you know about the series, just look at the map and take away the nameplates, it just looked like a quintessential gum game when they are on top form.
Excuse me. With that, we will be going to a short break to gather ourselves and get ready for the second game of this series. Don't go anywhere, guys. VCS English Analyst Desk will be back in about 5 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the Pentakill Analyst Desk. Joining me are still 𝘀𝗀𝗋 and 𝘀𝗀𝗋. And yeah, what a game it was. 𝘀𝗀𝗋, I guess, this guy just bursted the hell out of SBTC Esports in this first match.
And 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is indeed not clockwork, so as he just now fixes it, I can just take over the first point. Yeah, what a performance from Burst the Sky, gotta say. It was a very strong performance from them. I mean, we all saw the draft coming out from them. It was a lot of early game focus, aside from the 𝘁𝗀𝗋 pick, which is kind of in the middle of that. And yeah, we do not love their picks, but we love the identity they have and the fact that they play toward that. And SBTC wasn't ready for it at all.
It was almost
from
a
the
copy and paste from their outing against 𝘀�UE. Maybe even more dominant because the opposition is much worse. But in terms of composition, in terms of what they tried to accomplish and how they accomplished their breakpoints and how they got to the victory, was so similar. So I'm questioning 𝘀PTC's ability to adapt, because they should have seen this coming. Just ban the 𝘁𝗍, ban the Renekton, I don't care. Maybe these aren't the greatest champions right now in the patch, we all agree on that, but they are the best champions for 𝘀𝑠. So just get rid of them, play them on an even playing field where you know they're not quite as strong, and maybe you can win the series.
𝘀𝗀cie, do you think there were a point where 𝘀PTC esports in this game actually stand a chance against 𝘀𝑠ky, or was it just a stomp from minute 1 on?
It was basically a stomp from minute 1 on. I mean, I just saw the first on versus Renekton 20. It was already looking like 𝘀𝑇 definitely studies the champion very well. I mean, to no surprise, because he basically plays Renekton every other game, or even more than that in the VCS right now. So I kind of expected it like this in that lane at least. And mid lane, I was to some extent excited for 𝘀𝑇 finally playing not like the most top lane champion in the Sylas, who kind of rarely gets played in the top lane as well, but not so much at all compared to the mid lane. And he definitely didn't show up on the Sylas either. I know 𝘁𝗏 is supposed to win this lane, but not by 50 CS with multiple solo kills, and 𝘀𝑇 basically having no impact on the game aside from like feeding gold into the pockets of 𝘀𝑠ky.
And to me, it all
So,
comes back to the one play, at the start of the game, where the two solo lanes fell so far behind the curve, they couldn't come back into the lane. Then 𝘀𝑇 also made huge mistakes. Maybe it was just tilt, but he got solo killed over and over again. So not a great performance from the solo laners for 𝘀PTC.
Do you think, 𝘀𝑇, let's stick with you, that the early game aggressive playstyle, this early mid game playstyle from 𝘀𝑠ky is a result of the boosted self-confidence they took off the win against 𝘀𝑈 esports?
It's clearly a plan, right? It's clearly something they scrimmed. I am really suspicious. I would really like to know who their scrim partners were, because they look so similar to 𝘀𝗀. So I wonder if 𝘀𝗀 was scrimming BTS and they just copy and pasted everything they could. And they're doing a great job of doing that. And a lot of people always flame imitation and say you can never be as good as the inventor. But if you copy and paste it this well, then please, by all means, keep going. Keep going. Because even 𝘀𝗀 struggle replicating this kind of success in the early game.
𝘀𝗀cie, do you think there's a way for 𝘀PTC to come back in game 2? And if yes, what do they have to do so?
I mean, there are like multiple approaches you can pull up there. I mean, you could do as 𝘀𝑇 said and just ban out the 𝘁𝗍 and the Renekton straight up, and so you just at least have to be like forced somewhat out of comfort there, because they clearly have a very clear plan here going into it. Or you just assume they will pick it if you don't ban it, and you just already in your mind prepare a strategy that will counter it, like for example, outscaling the Renekton and just picking like a Jayce or a Cannon into it and just neutralizing the laning phase and just being better in both laning phase and the later team fights. Or just against the 𝘁𝗍, you just actually play Lucian Nami and do well with it, but I'm not too sure if CVL is actually up to the task and if he could play the Nami there, because he hasn't really shown the comfort onto his enchanter picks. And maybe also you could just pick away the Renekton yourself, depending on which side you're going for. And I think you at least have to address the 𝘁𝗍 Renekton in some way, because 𝘀𝑠ky, while it's not, of course, the ideal pick, we keep saying it, they really know how to abuse these champions.
We are jumping into the second pick and ban phase of this playoff race, deciding match between 𝘀𝑠ky and 𝘀PTC esports. 𝘀PTC, they are under pressure, they need to win, and they start with a TF and a LeBlanc ban. Bans against the mid lane. Is this a surprise for you, 𝘀𝑇?
Oh, for sure. Where's the Renekton ban? Where's the 𝘁𝗍 ban? 𝘀PTC, have you watched your own game right now? Like, what is happening? Can you please adapt to what Sky is throwing at you? They just give Sky the freest first pick of all time again. It's probably going to be Renekton or Xin Zhao. I'm not entirely sure which way they want to go. Oh, deviating a little bit, and 𝘀𝗀 Sin is exciting as well.
And at least they are banning away the 𝘁𝗏, which was doing wonders for 𝘀𝑇 in the mid lane, and he was probably very levitated the fact that he just at least gets 3 mid lane bans on the side of his team, so he gets at least like some pressure off of his shoulders, so he can just maybe even counter pick the mid lane, or maybe even pick the mid lane somewhat later, so he gets a stabilized mid lane matchup. And there seems to be a lot less bot lane focus coming up from 𝘀𝑠ky, and the Lee Sin pick is also something that I'm not really expecting here. I mean, Victor would still be open, maybe for 𝘀𝑇 even. You could go for Jinx Jinx or Caitlyn here, but the Caitlyn is taken away for 𝘀cie, and at least like the 𝘁𝗀, if she gets picked up by 𝘀𝗀, wouldn't have an easy laning phase, because the Caitlyn really abuses that range advantage very much.
So, Leeson, some stats. It is the most played champ by far for 𝘀𝗀. It doesn't actually appear that high up on the list for Penguin, so I thought about this maybe as a little bit of a denial pick, but it's much more confidence, just a confident pick, a comfort pick for the side of 𝘀𝗀 than it is to deny from Penguin. I expect Penguin to go to Xin Zhao maybe this time around, or J4 actually, so some more ganking presence compared to the Grace that really didn't pay off for him. But the bot lane is something to look out for. Jhin for 𝘀𝗀, I would like to see another 𝘁𝗀, but maybe 𝘁𝗀 into Caitlyn is too dangerous in the laning phase, too hard to execute. It's such a huge range disparity. So the Jhin is just there to contain 𝘀city's Caitlyn, so I'm expecting a shift of focus in terms of laning setup for 𝘀cie. I think they're going to look at the top lane, maybe the mid lane, and play more through those kind of positions instead of bot lane for this game.
And what has VCS done to you that you are preferring the Jhin over a 𝘁𝗀? I mean, this is like a really wild for you, right? I mean, you definitely do not like the Jhin very much, but all jokes aside, the Jhin against the Caitlyn is a matchup that is not that bad. I mean, I can see where he's going for on the side of 𝘀𝗀 here. The 𝘁𝗀 really would have huge trouble against the Caitlyn Leona lane for sure, in my opinion. And Gwen comes out for 𝘀𝗀. I like that back to the past kind of callback for them, because 𝘀𝗀, his best champions used to be Camille and Gwen from what I can remember, and I think the Gwen is something that he can maybe use to abuse those tanky weak side picks that Leo usually plays.
So after those first 3 picks, we have the top lane open on the side of versus 𝘀𝗀 and the support. On the other side, we do have the mid lane and the jungle open. 𝘀𝗀, what do you think, or what do you wish from both sides to pick for the last 2 picks?
So I'm happy that the Renekton is finally banned, as 𝘀cie also insinuated there. We have a Yasuo ban, which is actually targeting one of the compositions SPTC showed before, I think against Cerberus, if memory serves correctly, where they went for Diana Yasuo, so that outside chant is denied as well. So I'm liking what I'm seeing for SPTC. I think it's good to see them go for a ganking jungler, but 𝘀cie should just stick to the guns, should just go for an aggressive top laner. 𝘁 comes to mind, something like the Jax is banned, so maybe Camille. So 𝘁 or Camille would be my preferred options here.
And if he just goes for the 𝘁, he will maybe just get counterpicked by the Camille then. Aurelia is of course banned, so the main counter of the 𝘁 is taking out of the picture. But gotta say, Camille wouldn't really do that well into the 𝘁, and I think 𝘁 is a fine pickup. Oh, it's Gwen already locked. I'm just seeing it. Yeah, they picked the Gwen, and then they banned the counters with Camille and Renekton. So yeah, likely no Gwen mid lane gaming going on. Although it is 𝘁𝗀. I mean, he's a top laner, so maybe he actually would play something like this. But I do not expect it. I mean, the Yasuo was banned away, so also they are like on the same page, considering that mid lane will be picked last on the side of SPTC. I wonder what is left in the tank for 𝘀𝗀 there. If he can play Victor, I would like it, but Yone maybe the way to go. His brother in Yasuo is banned out, but there's still another lethal temp user, and that would be the Yone. Can at least win in all ins against the Wise.
So we see a certain change of style shift in what they want to do from SPTC. Much more bruisery composition than Caitlyn to hypercarry in the late game. They have a lot of agency on the top side, but also lacking range severely. So this is all about the range domination from 𝘁 and Ryze to me in the early game in the laning phase. They are 2 𝘀cie champions that can be punished by J4 ganks. So I'm keeping my eyes on Penguin and see if he can be the aforementioned engine for the early game for SPTC. But just in standard lanes, I feel like I'm still favoring 𝘀cie's composition. That's more standard and just looking to teamfight without having to think about like flanks and any fancy setup like SPTC's composition would.
So 𝘀𝗀 predicts a fast 2-0 for SF4 versus 𝘀𝗀. 𝘀cie, what do you think? Do you think we will get the full series?
I don't think we will, but I did like from SPTC that they're at least forcing a different style with the 𝘀cie. With the Renekton being banned out, with the 𝘁𝗀 being denied by picking the Caitlyn Leona lane, where she would be like really bad against it. Also, a melee top laner for 𝘀𝗀 that can work well against the opposition is a counter pick for him, where he would have more comfort on his own. And the top lane is also a very winnable lane for the Gwen if it doesn't get too hard behind in the first, I would say, first 7 levels or something. So I think that there's like some win con with the Gwen split push later on. Also, Hero just having a better showing in the mid lane. But my gut feeling still tells me that 𝘀𝘀_𝘀𝗀 has the number today.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving once again back to our casters. You will cast as a color cast, and of course the play-by-play will be 𝘀𝗋𝗋 and 𝘀𝗋𝗋. I have 2 non-believers by my side. Do you at least think that we will get a full series here on the last game of the day?
And I feel like I'm about to betray you, 𝘀𝘀ci, but no. I don't. I can't after that game 1. I think VCS have done fine in the draft. I do think, you know, SE has come away with a good draft. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this one, as you guys pointed out. But, I mean, we watched the same game 1, didn't we, Boy?
Well, it was not much of a game for more than, let's say, 5 minutes, because the game was over after the first play. So can SBTC last more than 5 minutes, is my main question coming into this. So let's head into the Rift, as we're seeing Hero under some early attack from 𝘀𝘀. Just showing off his skill shot accuracy. First Q, first hit.
Yeah, well done. Hero considering a back to make sure that he is on that full 𝘀𝗀_𝗀𝗃 in this game. What do you think of the Yone? Very, very strong with lethal tempo, as 𝘀𝘀ci pointed out. Or was it 𝘀𝘀ci? One of the two. What do you think of him?
Well, it is a little bit of a special pick and doesn't really fit the competitive landscape, the competitive game. It does scale well into the later stages, better than his brother, in my opinion. Much better, in fact. So if he gets there, Hero, yeah, he should be confident in this champion. That can also be played in the top lane, even though it's more traditionally a mid laner. So expecting Hero to look better than he did on the mid lane champion in the last game, but yeah, every time I see Yone, I wonder if it's going to be effective in what is going on.
I don't know. I guess 𝘀𝗏𝗋 must have gotten caught. Yeah, he's just about to get pinched. What on earth was he doing?
Like how Helio just jumps the wrong way. This could have been a flash.
Missed.
Oh, maybe it is a flash.
It is a flash. Okay, so it. I assume he doesn't die, surely. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, but another one is dying.
But we come back in as 𝘀𝗀𝗋 goes low, but he trains it back well.
It's a 1-for-1. It almost looked like a 2-for-1, but not quite as disastrous for SBTC. They start with a kill, and we already see Penguin making an aggressive play, something he failed to do for the whole of the first game, as another kill happens in bot lane. What's going on, please, observers?
Yeah, we have to get down there, as that's a good tag onto 𝘀𝗀𝗋. Gets taken down by that W from Hero, but with 𝘀𝘀 joining the party, he wants to go straight back onto 𝘀𝗏𝗋. Will take him down, takes a
the dodge!
The sidestep on the Q buys crucial time. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 dancing around, but in comes Penguin to slam the final kill.
9 kills in 3 minutes. Let's go. That's a pace. I don't think anyone can keep up with that pace. Your poor throat. But we have a little bit of reprieve, so let's look at the map state after this play. It's still a pretty even game, but top lane is dominating for 𝘀𝗀𝗀. Surprisingly, into the Gnar, Ryuk must have taken a very bad trade early on to lose this much control. So everything going SBTC's way. A change of pace, and they wanted to punish 𝘀𝗏𝗋 for his missing flash, but I think it's a quick reaction on the teleport. Yeah, as we see, mid lane is porting back, so just arming his teleport, getting ready to go there. It's actually just CBL slapping Armin in the face over and over again.
That 2v2 was awful from Sky. They get bailed out by the rest of their team, but that 2v2 was dreadful.
Yeah, and maybe overconfidence after the first game. Sometimes it's difficult to get back on down to earth, right? After you stomped your opponents, you're so close to securing, or maybe not close to securing the playoff spot, but close to getting yourself into an amazing position to be able to fight for playoffs. And then you stomp the first game. The second game is a little bit harder to play because you need to acknowledge the fact that you're even again.
So you'd say it's a slow and insidious killer. Overconfidence.
Maybe.
I mean, Hero's dead. He has to snap back to his soul at some point. Does get a shield from the W. A slowdown on 𝘀𝗀𝗋 as well. He actually gets away.
Does he now? Yeah, it looks like
Yeah, because the bot lane can't move. Yeah, they're pushed too far in.
Wow, Hero staying alive. He had no right to stay alive.
Though, Penguin is in some trouble. Can he get a flag and drag? No, he can't. He gets rune prisoned. He gets Lee-Sinned.
Now, this was just stupidity from Penguin, overstaying his welcome there for way too long. There was no reason for him to just stick around. Just wait for your mid lane to come back and move back to your jungle. It was very obvious that 𝘀𝘀xe was still in the vicinity, and I think 𝘀𝘀e even saw the trajectory of 𝘀𝘀exe's path. So either missing communication or just Penguin telling his mid laner, nah, I don't care, he's not going to kill me. Well, in fact, he is going to kill you. And the mid jungle of 𝘀𝗰 is still putting in a lot of work, even though their bot lane is failing this early game. I'm not sure why we have to look at this again. It's, yeah.
It's a kill, right? Fair enough. Have a squiz. It was well executed there by 𝘀𝘀xe and 𝘀𝘀e, even though they came in from sort of the opposite angles that a mid laner and a jungle would normally
That's very
come
true,
from.
yeah.
But they roll swapped very well. And now the farming continues. We do see up on the top side, 𝘀𝘀e has the slightest of leads over 𝘀𝘀e on this Gwen versus Gnar matchup, but everywhere else is looking pretty even.
It seems like Gwen is the specialty of all our new top lanes. Mark is one of the best Gwen players in the league, and now 𝘀𝘀e also showing a great performance, at least in the laning phase.
It makes sense, right? Like, all of our new top laners actually have played Gwen. You know, they weren't in the league in spring when Gwen wasn't available.
That's a fair point, yeah. And it's just this new incompetitive play for the older top laners, so maybe that's why we see equal or even better performances for the newer players, as they have clearly put a target on Hero's back. He has a huge shutdown, and he's also the one you want to lock into lane, so he can't roam and impact the other lane, so this makes a lot of sense for 𝘀𝘀e and 𝘀𝘀e, but 𝘂𝑏l is here.
𝘂𝑏l is here, can't stop them getting that tower plate though, so 𝘀𝘀e will continue to get bigger and bigger on this rise. Nicely done there.
Check your clock supports.
𝘀𝘀e roaming up to make them safe. We need to go up as Penguin has been engaged on by 𝘀𝘀e. Nothing will come of it, and it's going well.
So both clocks of the support players go a little bit early right now, because it's not 8 minutes, it's 7 minutes. Go back to your bot lane. You want to wait 1 more minute to group for the top objective. Instead, now both support players are going to fall behind compared to the usual curve of the game. So neither 𝘀𝘀e nor 𝘂𝑏l are going to hit level 6 for the Herald flip. So let's see how both of these teams are going to react to this setup.
Don't like that it's just being referred to as the Herald flip.
We have to manage expectations, right? So
yeah, it's
true. There's a trap.
Oh, our 𝘂𝑚ine needs to manage his health bar because it's about to rocket down. Oh, never mind. 𝘀𝑈's arrival means they're actually not going to go for the play whatsoever. Well-timed rel appearance.
Also, 𝘂𝘀e Mega Gnar on top lane with full priority and a teleport available, so I think they were also accounting for potential.
Again. As there's the crash down, knocking them up. That W goes straight through the uprights, though. 𝘂𝑏l has to find a way out in the mid lane. Yone has fallen. We'll have to get a replay on that one. As over the wall goes 𝘂𝑚ine. Adds his first kill to his name in this one.
I shouldn't have said that. Because, yeah, just as I say, 𝘂𝘀e was ready with a teleport, and they were...
boots the Gwen. Well done.
They were actually... I thought they were accounting for 𝘂𝘀e's TP, but immediately after I finished that sentence, 𝘂𝘀e's TP catches them off guard as they re-dive in a bad position. And suddenly the map looks very nice for 𝘀𝘀e again.
Oh, hero. That's not where you want to be. He deals a fair bit of damage, but yeah, you face...
Oh!
Actually, wow. Ow, that was close. Okay. Fancy footwork there by Hero, and it comes down to an absolute tiny sliver of health.
But losing that kill, that solo kill, that shutdown to the Ryze that's already accelerated is a pretty terrible situation for 𝘀𝘀e, because now even their strongest member in mid lane is falling behind his counterpart and might die 1v1 to him again. No Herald flip so far, just some players making it to the Herald. And where's Penguin going?
He's just having a wander. I think they're just going to give this one up. 𝘀𝘀e should be able to secure it with a smite any moment now. There it is. They can't deny the eye. So 𝘂𝑒 will just back off.
𝘂𝑒, what are you doing? Decide.
At least have you
yeah, Caitlyn did nothing.
Caitlyn on the bot lane.
Yeah,
why
exactly.
But why is she not in the bot lane?
So they clearly had the intention of fighting this Herald, but then just didn't communicate it well enough. This team looks so flustered. It's sad to see. We are in the back half of the split. We are in fact only 3 series out for both of these teams till playoffs hits, and they are fighting for playoffs right now. It would be their first playoffs for either organization, so it is just sad to see this team so disorganized when they're fighting for their lives in the league.
That they are. There's a big push in here in the top side. Drakthar opting not to drop the Rift Herald here. It would have cracked the tower, but chooses to hold on to that one for future plays. Nah, not necessarily when you want to funnel all your gold after all.
I'm really puzzled by some of these decisions from our junglers today. Every time I see a potential Rift Herald drop, it feels like they just deliberately don't go for the obvious play for a reason I'm not able to decipher. I just don't understand why you wouldn't just drop it there. It was a free tower. I guess maybe you want Nar to mine away the tower plates himself, because he seems to be in a good spot to do so, as we have a dive. Or we do that. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we just do it in a round 2. 𝘀𝗰𝗋 will be TPing up there. 𝘀𝗰𝗋 is extremely low. 𝘀𝗀𝗋's still alive your way. Oh no, 𝘀𝗀𝗺 is potentially striking here.
Ooh.
Hero will move over. Doesn't land the knock up onto 𝘀𝗋𝗋. A good flash away from that fate sealed means that it's in fact Hero's fate that is known as 𝘀𝗀𝗺 gets away. But the 𝘀𝗀𝗋 does not.
Oh, that's so painful to watch. Penguin, you're alone here.
𝘀𝗀𝗋 is in some trouble. 𝘀 will block the ace in the hole. They're using everything on this Jhin, and he just walks away.
What are these plays?
As Penguin going low, he doesn't die. The curtain call is there, but I think...
No.
Stay with your team. No. Disaster. As the kill goes over. Oh my word, your way.
I would fancy Flash right now to take games of SBTC, maybe even a series. This is just so disorganized, such bad communication, such bad, just everything.
They're looking to fire back on 𝘀𝗀𝗧. He does get that phase rush, running away at the speed of sound. 𝘀𝗀𝗺 bearing on down, gets the snip. Well done.
A little bit of an overstay for 𝘁, but look at the top of the screen. Almost a 3k gold lead for 𝘁 already, and everything just goes against SBTC. They tried to dive bot, but... You have to acknowledge 𝘁's positioning. Look at your screen. Celebrity is miles away from the play. You can't just fly in there with just the support and jungle who's not even ahead to try and kill 𝘀𝗻𝗋. It's a 2v2 between towers. Your ADC is not even close. I have no idea what even gave them the idea that this was a feasible dive, but in the end, it's even worse than just a failed engagement. They give a kill over to 𝘀𝗻𝗋, meanwhile losing everything on top side. This team just... I'm actually at a loss for words for how bad they're playing today.
I mean, I've got a word for it. Clown-like. Bit of clowning. Because this is pretty shocking. I didn't book a ticket to the circus, but apparently it's here regardless. And it's in the shape of a super big time chicken. Maybe they can bounce this one back. 𝘀𝗀𝗋, if he does get to 2 items, is obviously an incredibly fearsome threat. I don't know if they get there, though. And honestly, Hero has not been playing incredibly regardless. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit too down on them your way, but no, I don't have the faith.
No, you're not. You most definitely are not. We are 5-0 on the week, or 0-5 I should say, for SPTC so far, and they've consistently gotten worse. Their first series was the closest one, against 𝘀 of all teams. Then they played against Secret, got stomped, and now they're getting Goomba stomped by 𝘁. We're already pushing the inhibitor tower. This might be an overextension that SPTC can punish.
I mean, can they? Because there's the 𝘀𝗀𝗋 ult. It's a good... Oh, the Magnet Storm is absolutely massive. The boot back through. The curtains open up. And here comes Jhin firing on away. Down goes the Lee Sin. But 𝘀𝗀𝗺 in the middle of the enemy team does not have the Hallowed Mist. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is not immune as 𝘀𝗻𝗋 flashes on forward and takes her down.
And even... Ryuk was already on his way to collapse. The difference in these teams is so stark. It's just... baffling to see. They're both playing from almost the same position in the standings, but they look like night and day, the communication, all the cohesion shown in every single play. 𝘁 just has a clear game plan. They know what to do. They know their roles in teamfights as well. Look at this. 𝑎lio knows when to engage. Immediately the Jhin ultimate is already cast because they know they have to follow up there with a little bit of damage. And yeah, I mean, the flash from 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is just a little bit of an ego play. He wanted the kill really badly. But in the end...
he's already got 2 pentakills today. Maybe he wants a hat-trick.
Please, not on Jhin.
Well, he has to get a quadra-kill on Jhin.
Yeah, true. It's time for 𝘀𝟁to get the kills this time around. And he's close to level 11. He's scaling up nicely. 1 item already done. Close to 2 items already. And going to hit his level 11 power spike. So this Ryze is fearsome. You touched on the Yone being a potential win condition. But Yone into Ryze in teamfights is so hard to play. So hard to position. You just get stunned by at the first opportunity and collapsed on. Speaking of collapsed on, Penguin.
Yeah, no ward hop available apparently, as the boot did not come in, didn't actually have the kick up, so Penguin was not actually at any threat, but 𝘀𝗀𝗺 still imposing his will upon the enemy team as he just goes under tower just to get a CS. The man is flexing.
And rightfully so. What can you say? This performance has been nothing but stellar. There's a desperation play from 𝘀𝗀𝗺, and it does not yield anything.
𝘀𝗀𝗺, it's making me sad.
It is pretty sad to watch. I agree with you. This is a desperate team trying to find desperate measures, but nothing sticks. Everything they try goes abominably bad, and yeah, it's... At this point, the game is not over. They could win the series from here, but no one believes that. No one looking at these games believes that SPTC could win 2 games, let alone this game against 𝘀𝗰𝗋 today.
And I hate to do this to you, but I've just heard something get knocked over in my kitchen, so I need to go check that out. I'll be 2 seconds.
That's alright. As Ryuk just butting his head into the tower, as he's going to mine away some more gold with the next wave. Or actually, 𝘀𝗀𝗺 arriving should put a stop to that. But we've slowed down a little bit from 9 kills at 3 minutes. We're only at 18 kills in 60 minutes. Honestly, a huge disappointment for VCS game. Very likely our last game this week. As 𝘀𝗀𝗺 is fancying the kill. But 𝘀𝗀𝗺 is here, and 𝘀𝗀𝗺 with the ultimate. He's still immune to the Nah. 𝘀𝗀𝗺 trying to get away. 𝘀𝗀𝗺 needs 1 more Q, and he hits the Q. There's the easy kill. Penguin, what are you doing here? He's out of water, but he swims away through the river. Everything alright. It's another free kill for 𝘀𝗀𝗺. Nice collapse from 𝘀𝗀𝗺. They have another rift hold, so that should be another easy tower. Just smooth sailing is even an understatement, but 𝘀𝗀𝗋, good collapse from Penguin.
It's all right. Back 𝘀𝗀𝗋 can bail you out of having to do play-by-play as the dive is coming in. It's a good fade sealed on the backside, but the Magnet Storm is even better. That first kill is going to be picked up. Hero snapping back to his soul to get on out of there, but Ryuk does not want to let them go. Bailing forward on the Nah. Can't quite land it as the flash away from Hero is good.
And they actually got a huge kill on 𝘀𝗀𝗋. Not only on 𝘀𝗀𝗋, he was the target, but 𝘀𝗀𝗋 died too. That kill went over to Caitlyn, so a big shutdown. As we have the immediate replay, it's, yeah, Penguin coming from the perfect angle. And 𝘀𝗀𝗋, let's see what happens to 𝘀𝗀𝗋. He just gets 𝘀𝗀𝗺 seed, even drops the stopwatch, but is still in a bad spot. And of course, stopwatch against Caitlyn, not the greatest item ever. So he gets singled out by the enemy AD carry. And Celebrity, maybe a glimmer. It's dark. It's almost, you almost can't see it. But there's a glimmer of hope. Celebrity, hyper carry, Caitlyn.
I mean, it is Celebrity. He can do it. But it's going to be hard. And it's a long, long way to go if SE want to push this one to a game 3. As 𝘀𝗰𝗋 are still 4K ahead. They still have very powerful members of their team. This Ryze in particular. Got to have your eyes directly on 𝘀𝗀𝗋.
Yeah, if they can eliminate Ryze
another dragon.
like
First
this...
dragon for them, in fact.
Yeah. If they can eliminate Ryze from the fight like this in all the fights, then... yeah, that's the way to win this game. Celebrity, of course, Caitlyn, very decent at fighting or fending off against Ryze. And maybe you just put a hero into the cycle and never try to teamfight with him, because I think his sate is sealed, at least in these teamfights, because, yeah, I think he dies very quickly if he tries to go in. So I'd like to see hero just go into the side lane, go back to your top lane where you're most comfortable, even though you have to play mid lane right now. Just try to push some towers.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the only solution, but the Herald summoned up in mid as the play comes in bot. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is in trouble, has to flash away. Can he actually get out for the Penguin? He can, as the chase just doesn't come in.
That's another 1 for 0 for 𝘀cie. I like that SBTC is trying things, trying to punish the map movement from 𝘀cie. The best situation there was 1 for 1. And they are committing a lot to this play. 𝘀𝗀 is very slippery.
Look, I kind of like this. You get your mid lane tower, like, okay, you lose a bit of gold because they get an inner tower, but what does the inner tower do for them on the map? It's gold, yes, but what does a bot lane inner do?
They do need to recall to stop this push from happening.
They need to stop this.
And that means, look at the mid lane, that could be another inner turret for 𝘀cie. So they are definitely fighting back and getting so much more gold under the belts. Oh, 𝘀cie not going for this tower. I think that's a missed opportunity. I feel like they could have definitely just waltzed in the minions in the mid lane and just used their time to get another inner tower. Instead, it's just 𝘀𝗀 going for more experience, which is fine. He's 2 levels ahead of 𝘀𝗀. We very seldomly see these kind of leads anymore in the jungle, especially with 2 ganking junglers. It's not a Grace against J4, it's Lee Sin against J4, and 𝘀𝗀 having another cracker of a game.
Yeah, he is. He's been playing extremely well all week, really, but particularly in this series. I'm sure Rebel is very, very happy to see someone he hyped up for so long finally really show off, as 𝘀𝗏𝗏 does remain the last best hope for SE in this game. Has 200 CS at 21 minutes. Not bad at all. Is scaling up nicely. 2.5 items completed. Do you have faith in Caitlyn?
Not yet, honestly, but maybe later. She needs 2 more items, I'd say.
So you're saying you need proof to have some faith?
Yeah, that's true.
The truest of oxymorons.
No, I don't need proof, I need more time. I think Caitlyn at this point can't carry the game, but maybe if she gets 2 more items, then potentially. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is a good Caitlyn player. He knows the champion, he has played it before. Probably has a pentakill on it. Probably has a pentakill on all the champs he plays.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pentakills.
He has a lot of those. So I do trust 𝘀𝗏𝗏 in the late game teamfight scenario. I'm not sure if I trust the rest of his team, so it really has to be a 1v9 performance later on. He has almost no peel. Everyone just wants to go in, and then there's a Caitlyn 4 screens away, just firing away at everything that comes at her. So in the end, it's dive against dive. And the first team that goes into a little bit of peel for their carries may win this game straight out.
That they might, as 𝘀𝗀 stepping up very aggressively. Ryuk very close to Mega Narthos. SE really doesn't want to fight while that Narbar is nearly full. But with a disengage coming in, I don't know if he'll be able to get anything out of this transformation.
That looked awkward. 𝘀𝗀 still trying to find some engage.
That's a lot of damage onto Elio.
Yeah, that's just 1 headshot with a trap plus Q. So he's packing. His punch is pretty strong already, as they finally get their mid lane tower. So the game has slowed down significantly in terms of just the pace of plays happening on our screens. Both teams still posturing very aggressively, and Hero trying to find.
And the gates.
Hextech. Nice, good to see.
Out they go. Well played, using that new feature of the map to its potential.
How do you think
Well done,
Bard feels about this season?
Look, I think Bard's the kind of guy that's happy people learn from him.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's into it. Yeah, he seems like a happy fella. And look at this, SE, the standard desperation play. You think you've caught them on a recall? Screw it, start Baron.
But they are here, 7k health remaining, and CBL alone is not enough to ward off 𝘀𝗀, so here's the flip.
Yeah, they are going to go for it, but 𝘀𝗀 is actually being warded off pretty successfully by CBL. The Baron goes down in favor, but that's a huge gnar into the wall, and Glory's on the other side waiting for them. The kills are coming in thick and fast, and 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is the only one left. So, once more, the final hope is 𝘀𝗏𝗏. He's the only one with the Baron buff as 𝘀𝗏 get 4.
I love this so much from 𝘀𝗏, though. I'm going to wait with this point until the replay comes up on our screen, because now 𝘀𝗏 is just going to win everything on the map. Another dragon for themselves, another tower, but let's focus on this one. 𝘀𝗀 does not try to get into the pit.
Hero altered Baron.
Yeah, the important part here is that 𝘀𝗏 is patient. They want to go for the team fight, not for the Baron. They acknowledge the fact that the enemy team is going to burst the Baron, but they're going to overstay into the Baron pit, and they just waited for them. 𝘀𝘀 got denied. That's fair. Actually, very good play from CBL, but he also blew all of his CC on 𝘀𝘀, and he was still full HP afterwards. So 𝘀cie just changing plans from contesting the Baron and going for the 50-50 steal, where 𝘀𝘀 almost certainly dies because he used everything to get in there. He takes his abilities to enable the team fight. 𝘁𝗔 flies in, 𝘀𝑺ry's already there. They go for the fight instead of the steal, and it pays dividends. Now up to 7k gold lead and another dragon. So even though SE has one Baron buff remaining, nothing will come of this.
Yeah, surely not. We keep hyping it up, but it would take a miracle. It would take some real faith in divine providence for Celebrity to carry this one, because 𝘀cie is just so incredibly far ahead. This Rise is terrifying, has 3 items completed already, including a transformed tier item. Top lane, the Gnar is extremely beefy. And, I mean, look, it's still a Jhin, but he's no slouch in this one, as he does have that 2.5 items.
Yeah, and once again, this is one of those compositions where I condone the Jhin pick, because it's Jhin Rise. It's one of the combinations, one of the only mage ADC combinations where I like Jhin, because Rise is the main carry, and Jhin is just going to be there to provide even more CC and damage backup from further away. So the enemy team is always going to look at the Jhin and say, we need to dive the ADC. Diving, are they? But
Yeah.
on 𝘀𝑺ry.
They are. With 𝘂𝑛E coming on from the other side. This is a good start. The Gnar goes down immediately. Rise will follow him to the grave. Great call, 𝘂𝑎. Great call.
Yeah, and 𝘀cie overstepping. They are still as confident as they were the whole day, but this time not with the steps in order. Just trying to skip ahead, trying to bypass some of the correct setup you have to do for these kind of plays. And in the end they get caught. Very good collapse from SE, as you said. But it's not going to change much about the game. It's going to delay their push, but honestly, with their composition, it's probably reliant on the second Baron anyway. So just a little bit of gold collected. We do have Celebrity getting closer and closer to 4 items.
Yeah, and this is just it's just good use of the map, good use of the teleport. This costs a lot of resources, but I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, just good collapse. Not really much to see there in the replay that's worth pointing out. Just as an amazing play or anything, just good positioning, and 𝘀cie, as I said before, they were not looking at their setup with enough care, let's say.
When does Caitlyn Gwen begin to take over this game? Gwen's 2 items now. Caitlyn's 3. Is it Infinity Edge on Celebrity when you start to really believe?
Yeah, I told you earlier, 4 items is the breakpoint I'm looking at. Celebrity, 4 items, certainly can carry the games. It's still a weird composition to fight as Caitlyn in, because everyone else is just running away and you try to kite back. So I think the 2 most important targets are Rise against Caitlyn in the next few team fights. It's actually closer than you might expect, because Caitlyn is super strong. But no IE yet, so they shouldn't fight on this instance.
Not going to get much out of this Jhin ult. Really just kind of wasting that one. I guess it's not the most impactful thing in the world. He will come over and join the siege. But 𝘀cie, you pointed out, this comp does struggle with siege.
All their comps struggle with siege. This is actually less than some of their other compositions, where it's only 1 melee champion, but still, Rise, very short auto attack range, so 𝘀𝘀 should be fine. Yes.
Easily said.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll take a little bit of a snip, but he is well and truly out of there. No worries whatsoever. How does 𝘀cie play this one out? It's only a Hextech Soul. I don't think the Dragon Soul is necessarily a win condition. Of course, Hextech Soul it's not bad. It's good, but it's not a camp tech.
So yeah, I was just wondering the same. I actually wanted to bring it up myself, so thanks for the setup here. Because I believe 𝘀cie is struggling to find their way to victory. Last game was so easy. It was a hot knife through butter kind of game, where everything just fell into their hands after the first play and they snowballed out of control. So this game they have to think a little bit more about what they want to do. They fumbled the last few setups, so it's back to the drawing board. It's probably just going to be trying to play through the dragon buffs, and I feel like that's still a decent win condition to go for. Maybe more the Elder Dragon than actually just the Soul. So we're looking at a 36, 37 minute game, but their team fighting is still looking strong, and look at 𝘀𝑺ry's items.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see if he had completed the Rabadons.
He did, in fact, complete the Rabadons.
He did. He's got the hat. Now that is a terrifying
There's
rise.
also an IE.
Level 16, as well as it will be SC that start the Dragon up. They have pride of place on it. It's taken away by the Caitlyn.
Whoa.
And in they go. The Magnet Storm is fantastic. But now there's a Juggernaut holding them in there. Can they actually get the kill onto Celebrity? They can't. Down goes the Rise. And it's just better team fighting from SC. Celebrity, I mean, earned the name as he's just picked up 2 kills.
Yeah, it's here, the Infinity Edge Caitlyn, and they try to dive on top of her. Most crucially, they try to dive with the Rise, and Rise is not really the champion here to dive onto the Caitlyn. He has to be the main DPS carry, as I said before, because Jhin is not going to be that. So I think 𝘀cie needs to be more defensive in the team fights. If you can eliminate Celebrity, that's amazing, but it shouldn't be the way you play the team fights all the time. There's another Baron going over to SPTC, the second of the game, and suddenly the comeback is looking more and more likely.
Yeah, suddenly you have to have some faith in them. What the hell is going on? Why are they not just turning on the 2 of them? I guess with a teleport coming in, they're a little bit frightened as CBL has to run away. This Rise now arrives, catches onto Penguin. This is going to be 2 kills picked up pretty quickly, assuming he can land the overloads. Actually, never mind, he can't, so just the 1 kill. Interesting passage of play. I was very confused.
Yeah, that was a perilous situation for every single SPTC fan, because they were close to locking in the 6th spot. But let's look at this team fight again. 𝘀cie flashing over the wall. He's still so far away, and Penguin with a good eye to knock him up again. 𝘀cie, please don't do that again. I don't think that's really what you have to do. Just stay back, kite back, and force the Caitlyn to step out of position instead of you yourself just presenting your HP bar to the Caitlyn to take it. So the game is much closer than it was 10 minutes ago, and suddenly...
I mean, honestly, this gold lead at this point is irrelevant. Let's be real. 3K at 31 minutes, who cares?
Yeah, all the important items are here.
There's no base broken for 𝘀cie. I mean, honestly, in terms of gold, SE are actually in a pretty good position. They've got a lot of very easy towers to take.
Yeah, gold doesn't matter. I agree. We shouldn't focus on that anymore. The items are the important part. We have so many stopwatches. Look at that. They all want to turn golden this time for SPTC in the next team fight. So they're ready to fight. I'm not really sure why there's so much focus on the immediate fight right now, as there is no objective on the map. So already planning ahead. But this will make it harder for them to purchase pink wards, because everything in their inventory is... everyone is fully stacked almost to the brink with some component items, because they wanted immediate power now. Maybe a slight oversight from SE, as there's nothing to fight for right now. But yeah, the Caitlyn is the most important part. 4, 1, and 6. 4.5 items. It's going to be close to a Bloodthirster, so even harder to shut down then.
And this just comes down to position. If Celebrity can play a front-to-back team fight, I feel like it's very hard for SE to lose it. 𝘀cie is going to have his hands full dealing with a 𝗀𝗿, Yone, and a Gwen in his face, while Caitlyn can sit much further back, just play it nicely. The only person you need to be terrified of is Drakthar. This comes down to Drakthar finding an amazing kick.
So my read on this composition, how to play against the Caitlyn comp especially, is to try and isolate Caitlyn, but not by going onto the Caitlyn, by doing the opposite, by ignoring the Caitlyn and waiting for them to overdive. Because all of their champions are low range, and if you force Hero and Penguin to engage, then kite back and kill them first, Caitlyn can't really follow up. So that's my interpretation.
How do you make them engage though?
It's VCS. You just wait.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point. True. This is now a full build Caitlyn, though. She's just completed her GA, something I know you hate seeing ADCs do, but I think it's okay when it's a 6th item. This Caitlyn already does plenty of damage.
She does not have any armor penetration, apart from the one serrated Dirk item, which will do absolutely nothing against the armor coming in from Ryuk, so she is going to struggle killing the Mega Gnar form if he ever gets on top of her. I'm not sure if I like the item choice. I mean, of course I don't. But Ryuk, this is Mini Gnar, so he can die.
Yeah, be careful, but he's about to go Mega, has to use the flash though. as he does get away, but he's on very, very little health. Only 20 seconds before this dragon, but look at this top side your way. It's the split push coming in. Can they delay recalls? I don't think they can. 𝘀𝗵𝗶 gets back to base.
No. They
Never mind.
cancel the recalls.
Does it. Yeah, but 𝘀𝗶𝗶 makes it. Only 𝘀𝗶𝗶. So the 𝘀𝗁 coming in. They want to move over towards the mid lane. 𝘬cie just needs to find space to press
The collapse
B.
is coming.
Oh no, never mind. Here's the collapse. 𝘀𝗁 will get it started. Goes on to Hero, but his fate gets sealed. Has to immediately go golden. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 needs to wade in to save his mid laner.
Where's 𝘀𝗏𝗏?
As they try and run this one out of here. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is doing a lot. The Rise has fallen your way. That's the big scaling threat from Sky. Gone. Rell will follow, and 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is charging forward. Ace in the hole, thuds in, and it's another kill picked up. Triple for 𝘀𝗏𝗏. The paparazzi is here, and oh my word, he has earned every article.
And they're marching down the mid lane. There are 2 turrets standing. Can they finish the game? 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is getting closer and closer. Maybe you should have just focused on the next wave instead of this one. He can't get rid of this one. They are on core to actually finish the game here.
This is game. They have a Caitlyn. They're moving on down. This is an amazing play here from 𝘬cie as they will pick up the towers. And it looked doomed in the early game, but they turn Doom back on itself, reset the clock, and book a date with game 3.
What an unexpected outcome after that game 1. After the early game, Sky looked so much better, but the team fights just didn't come together. I know it's going to sound repetitive, but 𝘀𝗏𝗏 and 𝘰, I don't think that's the way to go for this team. They have been so reliant on the ADC to carry them in team fights, and we saw why. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is much happier to dive in, to make plays happen, but in this game he had to be the main carry, and he failed to do his duty. So in the end, 𝘀𝗏𝗏 just overtaking the damage shards and killing everyone one after the other. Front-to-back team fighting has always been one of the strengths for SBTC, and if you get them to 30 minutes, then they can win the game. So it's 1-1. This series is still unbelievably important for both of these teams. Whoever wins is almost locked into playoffs, and we have one more.
See you soon, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the VCS English analyst desk. By my side is still 𝘀𝗏𝗏 and 𝘀𝗏𝗏, and it is a little bit surprising that SBTC Esports was actually able to take a game number 2. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 in the early game, everything looked very fine for 𝘀𝗏𝗏 Esports. What actually happened?
𝘀𝗏𝗏 happened, I would say, because, I mean, there was like this mid-game power spike for 𝘀𝗏𝗏 coming out. They were like 5k ahead in the mid-game. Then there was like this one team fight where they had like 𝘀𝗏𝗏 on the Wise, playing a little bit too much with his food, and then he actually ended up becoming the food of 𝘀𝗏𝗏, where he went like melee against the Caitlyn, got headshot in the face and just died, and he was like the main damage output from 𝘀𝗏𝗏, and they had a 𝘰 who was doing well with the utility he bought with his snares, and also the curtain call zoning was great, and his mid-game damage was also fine, but later on 𝘀𝗏𝗏 just went to this one certain point where 𝘀𝗏𝗏 didn't really lose hope into the Caitlyn DPS threat, and the Caitlyn actually became a hyper carry, and that was ultimately what caused the game on the side of 𝘀𝗏𝗏. Also, 𝘀𝗏𝗏 on the Gwen, definitely outvaluing the Gnar in the later stage of the game, and like this, it was just 𝘀𝗏𝗏 kind of playing with their food too much, I would say, and this should not happen again because it might just cost them playoffs.
𝘀𝗏𝗏, do you agree that the 𝘰 pick was not good for the side of 𝘀𝗏𝗏?
You know I do. You know. As I said in game, I don't actually mind the 𝘰 in this composition, but I do mind the 𝘰 for 𝘀𝗏𝗏, because he is the main carry of this team in the late game team fights. Even though some of the other members have stepped up huge at setting up the team fights and getting him there, he is still the one to bring home the damage. So I really don't like to see him on the 𝘰. I think he has to be on the primary carry, or something like the 𝘁𝗀𝗏, which worked well as well, where you provided a lot of extra threat and just followed up on the engages as well. But I like to see most on Caitlyn and Lucian, which are his 2 most well-known champions to carry on. I'd like to see them go back to one of those styles, because the 𝘰 wasn't horrible, but I think the team just doesn't know how to team fight late game without 𝘀𝗏𝗏 on a hyper carry.
We have seen 𝘀𝗏𝗏 performing very well on 𝘁𝗏𝗏 in the previous games. 𝘀𝗏𝗏, you mentioned, okay, 𝘁𝗏𝗏. I do understand why 𝘀𝗏𝗏 does not go for the 𝘁𝗏𝗏, because 𝘁𝗏𝗏 has a bad matchup into the Caitlyn, as well as the fact that 𝘀𝗵𝗵 has had some very good games on 𝘁𝗵𝗏 in the past. Do you think that 𝘁𝗏𝗏 is a ban-worthy champion for the deciding game?
It is at least a champion you wouldn't give 𝘀𝗵𝗵 in, but that's also another option you can take. You can maybe pick the 𝘁𝗏𝗏 yourself on the side of 𝘀𝗏𝗏. I don't know if they are going to the blue side right now, so it is of course a danger that you have to factor in. Maybe also if you can actually go for something like the Jinx into the 𝘁𝗏𝗏, you can just leave it open if you are happening to go red side and they first pick it. So there's also that option as well going on for them. But assuming you are red side and you don't have the Jinx ready, which I assume is the case because they would have otherwise just picked it now instead of the Jhin, which was suboptimal for 𝘀𝗀𝗔. He played it fine, but as you always said, he is the main threat of the team and he should play a champion that just deals reliable damage in the later stage of the game, and he just could not do that. So I would assume them being on red side likely now, and not having the Jinx ready, they should ban the 𝘁𝗏𝗏, yes.
I do think there is a little bit of an issue with how the game went early on, because I don't think they wanted to play around the bot lane this heavily, but there were so many fights around the bot lane, the top lane got isolated, and yes, Ryuk did a great job early in the game, just containing 𝘀𝗏𝗏 to a certain degree, but not enough, and I feel like the Jhin was picked to focus more on the solo lanes, and that got thwarted by how the game was going. So I feel like the strategy in itself doesn't really need changing, but if you want to go for a weak side bot lane, maybe try to focus and make stuff happen in the early game on top side a little bit more.
This third game is very deciding. As we pointed out earlier in this series, whoever wins this game has a very good chance in making playoffs, and whoever loses this series is basically out of playoffs. So before we jump into the pick and ban phase, 𝘀𝗀𝗏, one short note, is Comfort or picking Comfort now maybe the way to go for one of the teams?
Definitely, I would say. I mean, with 𝘀𝗏𝗏, it's kind of their identity, right? They do not pick like the best champions on the patch or something. They like to go for like 𝘁𝗏 Renekton. Just now they got denied to the Renekton, and the 𝘁𝗏 was not playable to the 𝘁𝗏𝗏. And as we now are onto it, they ban the 𝘁𝗏𝗏. Just as I said, they are red side. They don't want to give it over. So I assume Jinx is not ready either for them. And now I want to see what kind of answer 𝘀𝗏𝗏 has against the potential 𝘁𝗏𝗏 pickup. Because now, why would Sky not pick up the 𝘁𝗏𝗏 again? It worked so well in all the games 𝘀𝗀𝗏 played. He got 2 pentakills on it, I think, today alone. And yeah, I don't think there's anything stopping him from picking 𝘁𝗏𝗏 right now.
And the Lee Sin first pick for SE is more serious meta than actually meta or even how this team likes to play. It's much more a pick away from 𝘀𝗏𝗏, who had another great performance, but you can always just go back to the Xin Zhao, and I actually like Sky on Xin Zhao even better than what they showed at the Lee Sin. No Renekton priority, which is a little bit strange, unexpected, I guess, because their Renekton looked great whenever Ryuk was on the Renekton pick, so leaving that one open for the taking for 𝘀𝗏𝗏. Maybe he doesn't like the Renekton into Gwen and wants to eliminate some more of the top lane counter picks or answers. But yeah, SE just building a decent teamfight composition here with a lot of setup and early bot lane agency, and everything has been revolving around the bot lane, not only this series, the whole day, I'd say, so this makes a lot of sense from their perspective.
It definitely does, and the Jinx Flash is also a very meta bot lane. Maybe the strongest bot lane you can play on the patch right now, aside from maybe like the Lucian Nami, which would have been open right now, but Jinx Flash is also like giving even more control actually. I think it does scale even a bit better than Lucian Nami would do, and the Flash also brings so much defensive utility, while the Nami could just get blown up, so there's like a lot more of a silver lining for the side of 𝘀𝗏𝗏 right now, who tend to have not so great early games, so maybe the Flash is better in that regard for them. And now Nautilus gets logged in as well for the side of 𝘀𝗏𝗏, so I think they are preparing the 𝘁𝗏𝗏 pick again, and now I'm wondering if there's actually the 𝘁𝗏𝗏 band in the second draft rotation. I assume Sky would just now ban out the Wise Cutters like the Yone after the set band as well, and maybe just now, yeah, 𝘀𝗏𝗏 strikes with the 𝘁𝗏𝗏 band after banning out the Renekton, so to take away as much comfort as you can possibly take away.
It should be very easy for them to anticipate the 𝘁𝗏𝗏, right? They have played it so many times, they've gotten 2 pentakills today. I like the Gwen ban, so we definitely see a little bit of a shout out to 𝘀𝗏𝗏 and his performance in the last game, trying to put him on something else and dominate the matchup against Ryuk. After having a dreadful, let's put it that way, week 1, he has actually stepped up huge and been an asset to his team, providing them with another strong role to carry from. In the deciding game for players, you want to pull out the Draven? That would be... Oh, this is another 𝘀𝗀𝗏𝗏 special, one of the very few players to play this champion alongside Artemis, the two A80 carries, just going one for one on the punches. So this might be another engaged-focused early game, mid-game draft for Sky.
I mean, if they log in the 𝘀cie, I'm actually quite fond of it, because with nameplates off, I would think the 𝘀cie, if they happen to pick it, it would be a far from ideal pick against the 𝘀cie, of course. And the 𝘀cie, I mean, it just now looks a little bit bugged in the overlay, but is apparently logged in for 𝘀𝗻. And this is like going all early game for them. 𝘁𝗏𝗺 can also help them with potential bot lane dives and the 𝘀𝗀 fresh lane, while they win the weights to level 2, maybe even against the 𝘀cie, because the range advantage and the AoE damage of the rockets to get like the push going on. It is still something that really struggles at like the level 2 to level 5 level stage, and maybe this is already where versus Sky likes to strike here, and they had been the better early game team over the course of the whole day, are really warmed up to the task. And just now, I wouldn't like a Gnar counter pick against the Camille coming out here, but apparently they chose to do so. So after seeing all the picks, I'm actually kind of inclining to believe that SBTC takes it here.
Okay, the call from 𝘀cie is that SBTC eSport will take this game. 𝘀𝗚, do you agree on that?
I firmly believe that Sky is just the better team, and the last game should have been a Sky victory as well. They just didn't understand how to teamfight late game, but most of the game, 85% of the game, was still Sky favored. It's just one game though. I am a little bit worried about Heroes 𝘀𝗏𝗏, because every time we've seen it, it looked pretty bad. Not individually in lane or anything, but it just didn't have any game impact, so I'm really not a big fan of Hero 𝘀𝗏𝗏. I think his team needs him to be more proactive in the early game, and this is not the pick to do it.
I think, however, though, that despite SBTC, in my opinion, winning this draft, they still should have lost the last game, and they are like not really looking too hot in the recent games. So I think despite the better draft, SBTC could just choke the game out and lose it here. And if I really had to make one decisive call, I would still give it to Sky.
Okay, both of my analysts are still believing in Burst the Sky. 𝘀𝗏𝗃 once again, one last time calling you. Do you agree on that? Do you still believe in Burst the Sky, or do you think that SBTC eSport can make the miracle happen?
Well, Hero starts with H, so does 𝘁𝗀𝗺. He is playing 𝘀𝗏𝗏. Maybe there's some transitive properties going over to that. Maybe he can pop off and carry. Look, I think I have a similar reasoning to this as you do, 𝘀𝗚. I think holistically, I like SBTC's comp more, but BTS is a better team. So I think despite a small comp diff, Sky is a better team, and they should win. But celebrity on 𝘀𝗀𝗃, it's pretty spooky.
Don't even know if I agree on the comp diff, honestly. I am really not the biggest fan of 𝘀𝗏𝗏. I think she's just a little bit superfluous. She doesn't really provide anything, and she's relatively easy to be locked down. She doesn't even offer the biggest threat or provide the biggest threat against 𝘀𝗏𝗏, because 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is usually pretty safe, so or has a lot of lifesteal and gets to jump away from the combo from 𝘀𝗏𝗏. So she really needs to get going and get like 2-3 kills in the early game to be one of the main carries for SBTC's playoff chances.
We'll have to see. I am very sus, but it is 𝘀𝗀𝗍𝗍, formerly Police, was known for his 𝘀𝗏𝗏 always. So going to a very, very comfortable champion for himself in a crucial game. We've said this before. The analysts have made it clear. Yes, both teams can still mathematically make playoffs no matter what happens this game. But realistically, whoever wins this game is fourth.
Yeah, especially for Sky, they would go to 6-6, and they have 2 more series left, while tying 𝘀𝗏𝗏 and serious score. But they have Flash left, if I remember correctly, and 𝘀𝗏𝗏 has Cerberus and 𝘀𝗏𝗏 left. So it's very likely for them to make 7 victories if they win today. That would just topple anything that 𝘀𝗏𝗏 can offer, most likely. Of course, they might surprise, who knows. Everything is still in the hands of the teams. If they win their series, they can always just get more kills. But there we have the now level 1 scuffle in the bot lane.
Yeah, it is just a little bit of back and forth. Nothing serious happening. As they are just going to disengage. It was a good flay to stop 𝘀𝗏𝗏 really following up on his own hook. As the 𝘀𝗏𝗏 returns. That Hail of Blade's getting some value your way.
And this is actually the point. I saw this matchup earlier today. Then I remembered Rebel's point from one of the days he was casting. And then I forgot it when we got into the game. But yeah, this is one of the matchups where Rebel talked about how 𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗀 sees the matchup as something that is generally favored for Nautilus. But if the Thresh player is exceptional, then he can turn around the matchup. So this is a test for CBL. And we know CBL is probably traditionally the best Thresh player in the league, so he should be in that exceptional territory.
Yeah, it's true. We'll have to see if he can actually pull that off. As up in the top side, 𝘀𝗀 off to a decent start up against Emperor. As 𝘀𝗀𝗺's actually going to go for a look for Penguin. Fully spotted. They know exactly where he is. I think they can make a pretty educated guess at where Penguin is as well, even though I'm not 100% sure if that ward actually saw him. But regardless, full information on the junglers.
So this might snowball into a double 𝘁𝗁𝗁𝗀.
Uh-oh. He's in a lot of trouble.
Bot
We're going to
lane,
have to
though.
go to the bot lane, though, as there's a kicking off fight here. That Halo
Wait,
Blade's
what?
getting so much value. Yeah, it's just Halo Blades into Rend, man. That's what happens. Now 𝘀𝗀𝗃 needs to find a way out. He can't do it. And the party bus is here. And everybody's jumping as they
Wait,
just dive
hello?
in. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 manages to survive for now. It's a double kill for the G. She now gets excited, can back off or move on forward as 𝘀𝗀𝗃 goes low. But 𝘂e off to a great start.
And all hail celebrity, he's the one to carry SPTC potentially to the playoffs here. 2 kills already to him. His team knows where to funnel the resources into. He is the star of the show. And this might be one of those games. How did the first kill even come to be? I didn't catch that. He just disappeared. But yeah, that's a lot of damage from
Halo
𝘁𝗀𝗃.
Blades. Oh, very well played there to make sure that 𝘀𝗀𝗃 couldn't navigate his way out of that. And then it just all goes really wrong for Sky.
Almost missing the kill on 𝘀𝗀𝗃, but fortunately Celebrity has enough movement speed to catch up to him. He doesn't get a last one, but it's still 2 kills for the Jinx, with just 1 first blood on the side of 𝘀𝗀𝗃. Weirdly enough, Sky is ahead in gold. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, it's the mid lane matchup. That's 𝘀𝗀𝗃 just farming away while the rest of his team is inting in bot lane. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 last game on Rise.
𝘀𝗀𝗃 went down.
Oh, he was, yeah, that's true. So it's
Yeah.
just from the earlier parts, we saw him dominate the matchup and push hero under tower level 4 already, so, or level 3 it was. So, really, punishing the top laner for being, having the audacity to walk down into his mid lane territory. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 showing him that, no, top lane is not the hardest lane to play, it is in fact the mid lane.
Well, we'll have to see if that remains true. As once again, Sky do have the push here. The Jinx rockets aren't quite good enough to really hold this 𝘁𝗁𝗃 back fully. Are they just going to go for a straight up dive here at level 4? Surely not. Surely 𝘀𝗀𝗃's just here to cover.
𝘀𝗀𝗃 had TP advantage, so they were looking at a 4v2 dive, not a 3v2 dive. It's never a 3v2 dive in the VCS. It's always teleport your top laner or mid laner into the bot lane party. But a little too dicey, especially because 𝘀𝗀𝗃 would have also would have lost so much on the top side as he's pushed on the tower. So we're pulling that one away, not actually going for the aggressive play, and still 2 TPs down for the solo laners for SPTC, so there is a little bit more opportunity. Maybe they want 𝘀𝗀𝗃 on level 6 before they try to go for this dive the next time.
Looked a bit exciting there for 𝘀𝗃, but I had to remember that Camille is a champion that exists. Just hook shots away as we see 𝘀𝗀𝗃 having a poke around with the dragon. Penguin is on the right side of the map, but he's actually just going to recall. They don't sniff out or they don't care that this Ocean Drake is being...
No, they do care. I think they just make the call because they know 𝘀𝗃 has TP advantage. So actually SPTC showing some growth over the course of the series because they disregarded this in game 1, fell prey to the TP disadvantage, tried to dive against TP, and now this time they do not go for the play. So Penguin gets to live, and Sky just walks away with 1 dragon, which is nice, of course. It's definitely a win, but also not the end of the world for 𝘂𝗍e.
Yeah. It's very true. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 continuing to farm up. I mean, this is 29 farm on the 𝘂𝗃. Just hit 30. It's getting a little bit rough in this mid lane. Maybe you were right. Maybe the transitive properties of 𝘁𝗁𝗃 don't exist. Surprised that that's how that works. Yeah. How do you save hero in this matchup?
This is why I was so worried when I saw the 𝘀𝗁𝗁. It happens every time. Sometimes he's even in lane, but he never has game impact. And this is really the big issue. When the mid laner doesn't do anything, and the enemy mid laner just gets to mine away at the turret plates, gets to roam first, gets to impact the jungle matchup, it's all snowballing away from you. So far it's contained only to his lane, so maybe if he can just keep up as best as he can, not let it spill over to the rest of the map, could be enough, because 𝘀𝗁𝗁 is already ahead, so he's making up for the fact that his mid lane is struggling this much, but he needs to be careful. The next few minutes are going to decide a lot of this game, because if 𝘀𝗁𝗁 can utilize his gold advantage, that's probably around 500-600, to snowball the next team fight, maybe around this Herald flip, as 𝘁𝗁𝗁 needs to walk away. Good engage.
But he gets booted, he gets the ultimatum. The Realm Warp is coming in. They can buy a little bit of time. That's all they need. Trade it back onto Penguin. That's a jungler dead for an objective fight. But Sky's bot lane is so far away 𝘀𝗁𝗁. They can't continue this fight as Hero goes in. Some fancy footwork there. 𝘀𝗁𝗁 diving in with him. 𝘀𝗀𝗁 will fall, and 𝘀𝗁𝗁 can't trade back. He needs to sidestep a hook. But you can't when the Thresh is that good. Flashing away. Can they finish him off? Of course they can.
Oh, Hero!
As Celebrity 𝘀𝗀𝗁 gets it. Hero dies to the tower. But it just doesn't matter, because they have picked up enough kills. But now a teleport as the respawns come in 𝘀𝗁𝗁. Ding, ding, ding. Time for round 2.
It's always so close to being a great play from either of these teams. We clearly see glimpses of what they can do when they fire on all cylinders. We saw a whole game from Sky. Now a good attempt from 𝘀𝗁𝗁, but in the end just a little bit too long, a little bit too greedy. Overstepped their welcome and gave Sky time to walk their bot lane into the territory of the top side, and now 𝘀𝗁𝗁 respawned. 𝘁𝗁𝗁 is back in top lane, so they might actually lose the objective at the end of the play. Hero overdiving and dying to the enemy mid laner. So for a second it looked like he was going to get away with a kill there to equalize the CS disadvantage, but then he gives up a kill of himself and they give up the objective. So everything looks so close to being good from 𝘀𝗁𝗁, but in the end they are behind in map positioning and might just fall behind in gold very soon as well.
Yeah, this starts out with a good play from Penguin, but the collapse was very, very quick from the rest of Sky, and then it just kind of devolves pretty quickly.
Yeah, and 𝘀𝗁𝗁 wins this fight because the bot lane is here first. Hero is behind play. 𝘀𝗁𝗁 is there first. So what I was frightened for 𝘀𝗁𝗁 for definitely happened there, as 𝘀𝗁𝗁 was the first in the play. But in the end, because of the bot lane, Hero's laning struggles and priority struggles got kind of bailed out. It's still a kill over to 𝘀𝗁𝗁, and now let's see. Oh, 𝘁𝗁𝗁's here!
Yeah, they're going to try and interrupt this. 𝘀𝗁𝗁 will get knocked up. 𝘀𝗀𝗁 diving onto him, hits the wind, becomes lightning. 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀 playing bodyguard as he hooks him away. A boot puts him down as well. This 𝘁𝗁𝗃 manages to survive. 𝘀𝗁𝗁 now getting collapsed on. Uses that ultimate, gets over the wall. That shield bow coming in absolutely clutch. Somehow, 𝘀𝗁𝗁, nobody dies.
They're all alive. And look at 𝘁𝗁𝗁. He is so happy. He's praising his team. He's just at the tower in the Mega farm. The tower is falling down. It's getting shredded to pieces, and suddenly the play turns horrible for 𝘀𝗁𝗁 again. Once again, close to being a good one. This could be a little bit of a comeback one. Yeah, 𝘀𝗁𝗁 securing at least one kill at the end of this passage.
Yeah, not ideal there. 𝘀𝗁𝗁, I'm not sure if he overstayed or if he got caught out. I didn't quite see it, but not ideal regardless. In the meantime, though, 𝘁𝗁𝗁 has just been hanging out on his own, picks up another couple tower plates, gets that fourth one there. He's solid CS lead as well. You love to see it if you're a Sky fan.
Yeah, and ultimately, 𝘀𝗁𝗁 dying there is more due to the fact that Sky thought 𝘀𝗀𝗁𝗁 would try...
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. They thought 𝘀𝗀𝗁𝗁 would just try to run into top lane as quickly as possible because the top lane was under siege, but instead he took a detour into the mid lane. So in the end, it's still kind of a trade, even though it looks like a clean kill. It looks like 𝘀𝗁𝗁 just threw away his life with an overstep. I think he played fine. Like, going this aggressively into the mid lane is actually great, because it provides 𝘁𝗁𝗁 with more backup for his aggressive push in top lane, and one of the two was going to get punished. So in the end, it's one more plating for 𝘁𝗁𝗁 for a kill on 𝘀𝗁𝗁, which is advantageous for 𝘀𝗁𝗁, but not quite as bad as just being caught.
And the dragon will be smited away there by 𝘀𝗀𝗁. He was there on spawn, so 2 dragons taken as we head to the mountain rift. They still have a Rift Herald to take advantage of as well, as 𝘀𝗀𝗁's done a bit of a sneaky, curved on around, but I think 𝘂𝗁𝗁 can sniff this one out pretty easily. They do have 3 members here. It could be a 3v3 under SE's tower.
TP timings are important. Hero has his TP available, so potentially a 3v4. 𝘀cie, do you want to admit to this? Yes, they want.
Immediately in, and they blow up the Jinx. The teleport will finally arrive as 𝘀𝗏𝗍 trying to hop away, but he just can't do it. 𝘀𝗏𝗍 will buy some time, but it does not matter as it is 2-for-1 in the favor of SE.
It's so hard to praise these teams when they fall to such basic things. I was calling it on the cast. You need to be able to see this. You need to time hero summoner spells. This was such an obvious TP coming in. At least once again they buy time for 𝘁𝗏 to get the first tower. Look at this again. It's just diving onto the ADCs. 𝘀𝗏𝗍, maybe they thought 𝘀𝗏𝗍 could survive for a little bit longer, but he gets too close to the tower, flies too close to the sun, and gets burned quickly, even through his shield bow and all the healing coming in. So not quite as tanky as they hoped their ADC would be. TP advantage used to get another kill, and now out of nowhere, Hero, after a horrible laning phase, a 3-1, he's still 40 CS behind, but it doesn't matter because he has all the gold he needs.
Yeah, he'll be just fine. This 𝘀𝗏𝗏 can start providing a huge amount of value. Rift Herald summoned up in the mid lane. It's only going to be plates and only onto 𝘀𝗏𝗏. Really a pretty suboptimal use of that.
Does soften up the tower though, so the tower is up for the taking if SE ever overcommits to side lane play or even just gets caught out. So there's a lot of standing gold able to be taken by 𝘀cie. Bot lane tower is relatively low as well. Top lane has already been taken, and look at their towers, they're all full HP. So 𝘀cie can balloon this gold lead, and there could be meteoric rise in their domination of this game. But for now, it's pretty close, though it is a 1.5k gold lead, and look at the first items trickling in for 𝘀cie. We have the huge ones for 𝘀𝗀𝗏 and 𝘀𝗏𝗍 already done.
That they do, but we do also have a Kraken Slayer completed for Celebrity. Very bit of a risky pick. Can't Gale Force away from a rampaging Xin Zhao or a Rise, but it's certainly the most DPS. And when you have a Thresh, I think we both agree your way that going the Kraken Slayer is the way to go.
You have to
now
go
both
Kraken.
bot lanes have moved to the mid.
Yeah, 95% of Jinx games are going to be Kraken Slayer. Of course, the other two are more defensive, but you're not supposed to build defensive items. You're the ADC, you're the carry. Yes, the other two are going to keep you alive for longer, but that's not your job. Your job is to kill enemies, so the Kraken Slayer is the best choice for this champion especially. She does fill a different niche than, for example, 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗍 on the 𝘁𝗏𝗏. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 on 𝘁𝗏𝗏 will be much more aggressive, much closer to the enemy targets, and that is why he goes for more lifesteal. So it makes a lot of sense for Celebrity to go Glass Cannon, and last game he went Glass Cannon till the last item, and he carried his team to victory. So everything is still there for him to carry once again.
For sure. Looking into this one, as it is another setup for 𝘀𝗏𝗏 in the mid lane. They really want to crack this tower open, really open up some roam potential on the map, but they just can't do it. SE are just stonewalling them, and they're making this game slow right down.
But in the meanwhile, in bot lane, 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is just getting free experience and maybe even a tower. So SE are losing map position. They need to win this fight and need to win this objective. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 has TP though. There's the engage.
Ooh.
On both sides.
Yeah, there's the crescent being used. Oh, yeah, as he said, Hero is doing a good job buying a lot of time in that smoke. This is going to be an easy objective taken by SE. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 can do nothing about it.
And they still lost the fight though, because 𝘀𝗏𝗏 got a tower in the bot lane all the while. So 𝘀𝗏𝗏 with good macro awareness, they don't have to win the Herald. Their towers, as I've pointed out earlier, are all full HP. So even the Herald isn't going to net a tower. So in the end, they do the smart thing, disengage the fight on the top side and just give 𝘀𝗏𝗏 time to get another free tower under his belt. That's more gold than this Herald will ever provide for SE. And you can see the gold advantage is closer to 3k now, while 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is close to level 12.
Ooh, Realm Warp coming in. Very aggressive. Actually just going to be used for vision.
That's
maybe just
beautiful.
to scare them off. That was really smart. They do get the tower there. That was very, very smart there by 𝘀𝗏𝗏. Love to see that. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 tagged up by the Sonic Wave. A hook is thrown out, but it doesn't land.
Hero.
Ooh, with that Frostfire coming in. Hero knocked up. They hold the 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏 back. Can he get onto 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏? I doubt it.
What are you doing?
As, ooh, Why didn't he back off? It takes a lot of damage, and now SE's in a lot of trouble as they have to dive in. Ryuk with a flash, only onto 𝘀𝗀𝗀, not what he wants at all, but 𝘀𝗀𝗺 flying into the backside, doing really, really well. Hero will be the last one to go down. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 standing, he flashes a hook, he gets a kill as consolation, but that's all it will be.
He's trying so hard. The heroics for 𝘀𝗀𝗋 are just not enough. He's the only player on an even level with the opposition on the other side. Everyone else is getting gapped in this game, and more importantly, the team setup is just not the same. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is such a cohesive unit, as we talked about so many times now in these 3 hours of the series, but we have to stress it again and again, because 𝘀𝗀's team fighting is crisp again. Last game, they looked good until the late game, where they didn't really figure out how to play with their Jhin, and their divers were a little bit too aggressive, but now it's back to amazing plays and good positioning. I love this one. This is maybe my favorite Ryze ultimate of all time, just baiting the enemy team into disengaging to get the tower. But now the important thing is Hero completely misplaying his hand. He should disengage here. They should all just disengage, but instead Hero gets spotted. He's out of the fight. He's most of the gold of the team, so he can't do anything. Yeah, Ryuk flubbed this one a little bit, but it doesn't matter. He's still a huge frontline with a lot of damage, and they try to kill 𝘀𝗀𝗋 all the time, but he's tanky enough. I like this from 𝘀𝗀𝗋. This is all the desperate ADCs in every single solo queue game. They know they can't win the game, but they want to look cool at least. They want one good outplay. And 𝘀𝗀𝗋, I have to congratulate you. That was sick. Nice flash to the side.
It was pretty sick. Now, 𝘀𝗀𝗋, does 𝘀𝗀 run into a similar problem as last game, where their siege is really bad and SE can potentially find a way to reactivate 𝘀𝗀𝗋?
They might, but I think 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is not the same champion as Caitlyn. 𝘀𝗀𝗋, it's much harder to stay back and be safe on 𝘀𝗀𝗋, especially with only Thresh to peel for you, compared to Caitlyn, who has many more defensive tools in her arsenal, has the trap line you have to get rid of, you have to overcome. So I feel like 𝘀𝗀𝗋, in terms of damage, yes, she can compete with Caitlyn, maybe even outshine the Caitlyn, but the positioning is gonna be much more difficult, and if anyone can do it, it's probably 𝘀𝗀𝗋 of these 10 players, but I'm not quite a believer, even though he has already shown us one game of just 𝘀𝗀𝗋 v 𝘀𝗀𝗋. But I think 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is playing under a little bit different pretenses here.
Perhaps, as 𝘀𝗀𝗋 walking it up. This should be another tower falling. A little bit more gold in the pocket. The map continues to get better and better for 𝘀𝗀𝗋. 𝘀𝗀𝗋, 2 items now. This 𝘀𝗀𝗋, still have to be very, very careful of it, very respectful. As on the other side of the map, Penguin, it says Penguin got the tower, but I don't think he did. I'm pretty sure Hero did. Got that one as 𝘀𝗀𝗋 realm warping away. There's a fight in the top lane. I'd really love to see... Oh, no, they've actually disengaged, so I guess the observers... what is Rift Herald doing?
So
Rift Herald was having a weird one.
Rift Herald is trolling 𝘀𝗀𝗋 because he was actually turning around, but 𝘀𝗀𝗋 has enough damage anyway, and now his team is on Baron. Will the enemy team know? It doesn't look like SPTC. Oh, now they know. But will they be in time?
But I don't know if they will be. This goes down very, very quickly with a 𝘀𝗋𝗃 and a Ryze. The Rend is there as well. Should be able to time it with the smite to not give Penguin a chance.
𝘀𝗀𝗋 from the side, though.
Yeah, 𝘀𝗀𝗋 coming in from the side. They do collapse on him well, trying to disengage. There's a hook coming in onto the Lee Sin, bouncing him around. He gets over the wall, but he does go down. But it's a lot used on just one. It will at least stop the Baron, or will it?
It's another showcase of 𝘀𝗀𝗋 being patient enough to turn away from the Baron. They hoped and they thought they could be bursting down the Baron, but when they saw the situation change, they adapted their play. This is just signs of good League of Legends play, good pro play. Now the Baron is going down to 3k again, and here is another attempt.
It's secured by the 𝘀𝗋𝗃. They will trade back one onto the Nara. Now Hero in a position to absolutely carry this fight. He's dancing away. Has to deal with 𝘀𝗀𝗃, doing that well. And all of 𝘀𝗀𝗋 are melting away. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 trying to back in the back of the pit. He doesn't have flash. Yes, he does actually. Could just go over. Oh my god. He just backs.
Look at the missiles. That's amazing.
Okay. He gets away. But they lose 3. That's not really worth it, 𝘀𝗀𝗋.
Yeah, now they overplayed their position. So the last time, I really liked how they navigated when the jungler was there. But for some reason, VCS teams, today especially, don't seem to realize that the enemy team doesn't need a jungler to force the fight. If the jungler is there to steal the Baron, fair enough. That couldn't happen, but there's still a fight potentially. And this one goes to the side of SPTC after the initial
I feel
kill.
like you just don't take Baron.
Yeah, I agree completely, especially because your
Just
Baron
walk
damage
away.
is not great. You have Rice, but he's not high enough on the AP levels to be super quick. 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 is very dreadful against Baron. And yeah, that's just a decent engage. Everyone focused on Baron, everyone blowing their resources on Baron. And finally, Hero stepping up to the importance of this game and providing his team with the much needed space, especially Celebrity. Why do you have to do Celebrity CBL like that?
Just a little bit out of range. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
quick cast.
pixels. It's pixels, right?
It's quick
It's
cast.
harsh.
But no time
Yep.
to debate there, because there's another dragon on the map, and 𝘀cie is not pulling the punches. They are going to go for another big objective. This one can be stolen by Penguin. He needs to.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Mountain Soul is very, very difficult to play into. Over the wall he goes,
Oh!
has a resonating strike, but he just dashes back over the wall, Ryuk zoning him out. Excellent play there. Soul secured for 𝘀cie. They're now all very tanky lads.
And suddenly Celebrity's hyper carry potential dwindles, because this is one of the big issues with Jinx against tanks, full tanks. Now it's not a full tank, but in his Mega Gnar form, and especially if he goes into tankier items now, with the Soul under his belt as well, is going to be almost like a full tank. And then Jinx suddenly just takes too much time to kill one of the targets, and 𝘀cie is going to win the team fights pretty easily. There's also potential now for 𝘀𝟧 to go into something like the Frozen Heart with the added armor, with the shield. Frozen Heart provides a huge amount of value for this champion, so GA already built on Aomine, the one ADC champion that can actually build early armor as well, because he doesn't really scale with more crit. She does, but not quite as hard as other champions, so this is now a very valuable second Mountain Drake, just individually as the Dragon Stack, but also with the extra shield. How do you kill Aomine now? He has so much defenses on his side, so I would like to see 𝘀𝗀𝗋 play a different game now. Don't dive on top of Aomine, just try to protect your ADC.
Yeah, that's what we'll have to see if they can actually do it. I still think there is potential of them fumbling with the lower range comp. That's definitely not analysis. They shouldn't, but they could. This is the VCS. We don't expect perfect play out of our 4th and 5th ranked teams. After all, 𝘀cie will move up to the top side. They still. No, true. 5th and 6th, my mistake.
Don't do 𝘀𝗶𝗵𝗀𝗀 like that.
waiting.
They aren't out of contention yet. It's hard for them, but it's not hard for the winner of this game, and it looks more and more likely to be 𝘀cie. They're 2 kills behind, but they're in a great position. 𝘀𝟧 is getting stronger and stronger. He didn't perform up to par in the last team fights in the second game, where he had level 16, he had 4 items, and he just died. But now is another chance, and we know he can play these kind of champions. He's a great mage player most of the time. More aggressive this split. In most games he's more of the facilitator, playing a more upfront role, trying to engage and giving Aomine the chance to carry. But in this one, it's once again him who has to deal the most damage.
For sure. As it doesn't look like 𝘀𝟧 is going to go towards that Frozen Heart. Has that Hextech alternator at the moment, so definitely looking somewhere else. Even though I would like that Heart to come in. He is already very tanky, to be fair.
Yeah, all the major items are geared towards HP now, because even something like the 𝘀𝗀𝗋 Embrace gives you HP, as far as I know, now with the preseason. So, yeah, he is a pretty tanky lad already, and if he goes into armor just a little bit, he's going to force the inevitable penetration to come in for Celebrity. Last game, Celebrity did not build a penetration item, so I'm keeping anxious eyes on the itemization for the ADCs, because there has been a point of contention on our analyst desks, and Celebrity might be another one of those ADCs, throwing away a potential opportunity to win a game by wrong item choices.
We shall see a 𝘀cie stepping forward. 𝘀𝗀់wants him. Ooh, doesn't really throw their support far enough forward. Well played. Now 𝘁𝗈o's in so much trouble. 𝘁𝗀 once again set up to carry the fight. 𝘁𝗀 coming in from the side. It's just a scary 𝘀𝗀𝗺. They don't actually have anyone inside it, but it's a good pick there for SE.
𝘁𝗀 has TP, but sadly no flank ward. He was setting up to go back to base and instantly TP back into the fight. They want this Baron. Looks
it's
like
up in 10. I don't think they can. It's not up yet. It's still 10 seconds away. They have to do an honest setup.
Yeah, 𝘁𝗀 is close to Mega as well, so be careful there. Don't over-engage just because you killed the enemy support. It's just the support, and he's going to be on the map in just 8 seconds again. So potential for SE to overstep at Baron now, as they are going to start the Baron against Jungler and 4 people, now 5 people with the soul. No, they just squander their map positioning. I hate these kinds of plays. Just don't go for the Baron 5v4. You can't do it. Just go for another engage or try to set up a tower. There's so much objective bounties available for you.
Your way round and around and around we go. As now it'll be 𝘀cie starting up the Baron. This time 𝘁𝟁 is a lot stronger. Does actually shred it pretty quickly. We can't see its health bar right now, but I assume it is getting fairly low.
Mega.
Turn off it and go for the fight immediately. Look at all of this damage going in onto CBL. Into the backside is 𝘁𝗀 alongside 𝘁𝗀. Can they actually get the kills? No. 𝘁𝗀 will fall. 𝘁𝗀 being rezzed up still has to navigate around the 𝘁𝗀, but with Jinx down, I don't think they have much of a chance in this fight your way. Now they'll go to Baron, and this time they can actually secure it.
And this wasn't the worst Baron start, because 𝘁𝗀 was actually at Mega Gnar, or close to Mega Gnar, so the enemy team had to walk into your Mega Gnar setup with all the walls around the Baron pit. Penguin is here though. Oh, not quite in time. And look at the timer. 36 seconds to the next big objective.
Well played there in the end by 𝘀cie. They come out on top. As let's have a look at this fight. It starts looking dicey, honestly.
Yeah, and 𝘀cie has to step into this choke to hit anyone, but you can see how little damage he's dealing to 𝘁𝗀, and then everyone just turning on 𝘀cie. They are still scarred from the last game, and this time they eliminate this threat. He is on 3 items, so he is going to hit hard. Not particularly hard against 𝘁𝗀, as we saw there, but everyone else is going to get melted by the AoE damage coming in, so they don't even give him a chance to do that. Eliminate him immediately. He has no flash now to work with in the next fight, and I don't see a way how he can carry this one at the Elder Dragon. Maybe the last chance saloon for SE for the whole season.
Oh, a hook does land, 𝘁𝗀, but now the Elder Dragon secured. You know, you just can't win a fight against this buff. 𝘀𝗀𝗻 is hopping around. He is 𝘁𝗀. He is hoppity. He is taking down the chickens. 𝘁𝗀 goes low. The dragon roars. He picks that one up. On the other side of the fight, we did see 𝘁𝗀. 𝘁𝟁 as well chiming in. They realm warp directly to the mid lane, and they want to get this series over and done with.
5-0 ace. It's a dominant victory in the team fights, and the whole game has been rather dominant for 𝘀cie. There was some fight back from SE in the series. They won a whole game off the back of 𝘀cie, but in the end, in all 3 games, I'm going to say, even though they lost one of those games, 𝘀cie was the better team. They deserve to win this one. 2 series in 1 day, that's so much mental strain, but they looked amazing in some of those games. Had to get over the line in the last 2, maybe not the cleanest games for them, but their potential is here. They have found their identity, and this team is now the main candidate to get into the playoffs, and I'm excited to see more from them.
Yeah, I am too. Look, I'm going to repeat it again because I'm proud of myself. I've been saying for a little while in all of our chats that BTS is the 4th best team, and now they look likely to actually secure it on the ladder, which I didn't think they'd be able to do. But thankfully, they did. Now, I'm going to let you guys go very quickly because I know our analysts have a lot to talk about. 𝘀𝗀cie, 𝘀𝗀, welcome back. You guys take it away.
Welcome back one last time on the VCS English Analyst Desk, ladies and gentlemen. They finally did it, we have to say, versus 𝘀cie, who has won the third game of this series, and now won the series 2-1. That's what I wanted to say. It has been a long day. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for that. In the early game, it actually looked very well, 𝘀𝗀cie, for 𝑠bTC, especially 𝘁𝗀 with a lot of kills in the early game. What happened after that?
What happened after that was a lot of laning difference on the side of both solo lanes here. I mean, Ryuk silently was absolutely smashing that Na against Camille matchup. He also counterpicked himself a little bit with the Na into the Camille, and I was very worried in the draft that that might be detrimental to the Sky. But yeah, he managed to prove me wrong to some extent there. Also, as you were mentioned earlier, 𝘀𝗁 is not really a great champion to play into the Rise, and they decided to pick it on the side of SPTC. Didn't really work out too well. He will randomly got quite some kills, but he was so down in farm, so he was basically at the point here where he should have been just from laning phase alone, and otherwise just got smashed by 𝘀𝗁 in the laning phase. And I was a bit worried because Celebrity onto the Jinx got a lead against 𝘁𝗃 early, and this is something that is very worrisome because you also outrange it. And just like to start against 𝘁𝗃, you don't really have an easy time against 𝘁𝗃, but versus Sky just rewarding themselves with better solo lane laning performances and also with better macro because they were decisive, while SPTC certainly wasn't.
𝘀𝗁, what was pretty impressive to me is that in the early game, of course, SPTC was good in picking up the kills, but still, 𝘀𝘀 was able to keep up in terms of goals. So, do you think that this is maybe a sign that 𝘀𝘀 is in the end the better team compared to SPTC Esports?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I think they've been the better team today for 90% of the whole series. Only the 10% where Celebrity just 1v9'd them in the second game come to mind for SPTC's favor. But what 𝘀𝗰𝗃 just said now with the macro being better for Sky was quite remarkable. Not because Sky is traditionally a bad macro team or anything, but because this level of macro that they showed at some of the points in the game is not something you expect from a 𝘀𝘀. This is more what a playoffs team should do, and I mean they're fighting for the playoffs, so it's good to see them also showing this on the Rift, not struggling to get to players, but actually adapting new strategies. I really liked the way they handled the Rise ultimates here, how they baited out the enemy team to evacuate the mid lane tower. That was one of my highlight plays for the whole game. Just using the Rise ultimate and a Rift Herald at the same time. It wasn't even Rift Herald, it was just the Rise ultimate to force the enemy team away from the tower, taking the tower and then disengaging again. They actually showed some decent restraint and thought into their macro play, and that's the most exciting thing for me today here.
𝘀𝗀, you called 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀 to go into playoffs. Now it looks looking onto the schedule coming up in the next week. It looks pretty rough for 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀. Do you still believe in your boys, or do you think, okay, with today, 𝘀𝘀 will for sure secure playoffs?
The short answer is no. The long answer is 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀 kind of botched it. I mean, they had the easier schedule, but now they had their must-wins and they just didn't take them. Now in the last week, they likely are just food for thought for both 𝘀𝗁 and Cerberus, and they are very unlikely to get even another game win on the board right now. And 𝘀𝘀, I think they just overtook them even in the match score already, so it's looking really rough for 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀. And just gotta say, 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀, there is a small chance they now prove me wrong if they actually manage to upset one of the two top teams, but that is very unlikely. If they, however, manage to do so, I think they actually deserve it, and yeah, might just deserve playoffs over 𝘀𝘀. But I mean, 𝘀𝘀 just having an incredible day, and yeah, luckily for them, they had the internet dropout, so they could prepare a few more days, I gotta say. And today, I mean, 80% win rate on the day is looking very, very good for them.
𝘀𝗁, do you agree on that?
So they are still behind 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀 because of the head-to-head. So the onus is on Sky. They haven't made playoffs yet. They still need to perform in the last week. And I believe they play against Flash, so it should be just an afterthought. It should be easy. But these are the kinds of situations where nerves, maybe some choking, can come in, and suddenly you lose to Flash and you squander your huge chance to finally get to playoffs, as 𝘀𝗁, as 𝘁𝗀, all these players always wanted to get to the playoff spot. So it's not over for them. They have to perform. They look at 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀 and are pretty comfortable because 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀 is up against Cerberus and 𝘀𝗁. But maybe 𝘀𝗁 has a bad day and 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀 beats them, then suddenly it's really worrying for BTS. So it's not over. We still have a week, but they are in the best position. I definitely agree with that. And I would probably put money on BTS making playoffs instead of 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀. Just saying, it's not done and dusted yet.
And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, of course, you have to come back next week with the deciding week who can secure the playoffs, who can secure the second and the third place. It's still it's a slight race going for the second place there as well. So yeah, come back next week, and with that, We are out for today. It was a very long day, but I had a lot of fun personally. Thanks to you, 𝘀cie and 𝘀𝗋𝗋, for joining me on the analyst desk. Thanks, of course, to 𝘀work, who joined us in the first 2 series of the day. Thanks to 𝘀cie once again to take us through the games in the best possible way I could possibly imagine. And with that, we are out for today. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.